Touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio.
Peace and greetings to you. This is Amuna Yisrael, affectionately known as the First Lady of Debate Talk for you. I have enjoyed coming to you week after week, season after season, growing together, speaking about the difficult topics, investing the energy, time, and effort with our brothers and sisters on the panel. Today, I would like to come to you with an opportunity for you to invest in something that I've been working on and that's near and dear to me. It's called the Yummy Cottage. You can learn more about it at www.gofundme.com/the Yummy Cottage. We're currently fundraising so that we can get it off the ground, and your help would be appreciated. Once again, www.gofundme.com/the Yummy Cottage. Check the link in the box and hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, I'm here to prove that JC was made up by the wicked man by the name of Esau. And that the whole New Testament is Esau using Jesus to take his birthright back from Israel. And that's the whole purpose of JC. He was a story written to keep Israel in captivity until our 400 years was up. But I just want to start at the prophecy of Israel at Genesis 15 and 12. And y'all said, "And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and after they will come out with great substance." Now, this prophecy was the prophecy of our generation of Israel, because we know that Moses and them did 430 years in captivity. So this is not Pharaoh. This is not Israel being enslaved in Egypt. This is the latter prophecy of Israel, is 400 years, which is our generation. I'm going to go to Genesis 14. Matthew 10:34. "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I am come not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe shall be he of his own household." Now, Esau has us praying to this man right here who admitted that he never came to bring peace, but he came to bring the sword. This also was the prophecy of Esau when he sold his birthright to Yaakov for pottage. And when he sold his birthright, he was starving. So he asked Yaakov to feed me pottage. But Yaakov told him, "No, unless you sell me your birthright." And he told Yaakov, "What profit? What does this birthright profit me? And I'm starving." So he sold him his birthright. And when he tried to get his birthright back, when Isaac was going dim and his eyes was going blind, he sent him to go out into the field to fetch venison for himself so that he could bless his son Isaac. So Isaac could bless his son Esau to get the blessings of the earth. But Esau had already sold his birthright and still tried to regain it when Jacob wasn't around. So when he sent him out, Rebekah heard of what Esau was going to do, so she sent Jacob to their barnyard to get him a lamb, and she made food for Jacob to take to their father so that he could receive the blessing before Esau came back. So by the time Esau came back, Jacob had already received the blessing of the land. And his blessing was that he shall rule by the fatness of the land, and that our brothers will serve us. Other nations will serve us. And the other nations that curse us, he will curse them. And the other people that blessed us, he will bless them. So after he received his blessing, Esau came back and tried to regain the blessing, but it was too late because Jacob had already received it. And when he cried out for a blessing, he asked Isaac, do you yet have another blessing for me? And Isaac told him, your blessing shall be the fatness of the land and the dew of the heavens, but you shall rule by the sword. And we know the sword represents death. It doesn't represent life. And that's the same thing JC said he came to bring, was the sword. Also, we see so many statues and idolizations and images of JC and crosses. Everywhere you go, you see these engraven images and idols. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 tells us, the Father spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, thy Father, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And the first commandment is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image. And as I said, you could see images of JC in any church you walk in, or a cross that he had supposedly died on any church you walk in. But we know that is an engraven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above. So if JC did exist, and if he was in heaven, it still shouldn't be any pictures, statues, or images of him if he is in heaven, or anything that is in the water underneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh, am a jealous Father, visiting the iniquity of fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. And for people that serve Yah and keep his commandments and all his statutes and judgments, which consist of not bowing down to any graven images or any idols, then he will show mercy unto thousands of them that does this, which proves that by doing this, you love him, but not by doing opposite or anything in opposition to what he says to do. But he's going to show mercy unto thousands of them that love him and keep his commandments. And serving JC was never a commandment. Exodus chapter 4, verse 22 states, and thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith Yahweh, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. See, Esau sold his birthright, and it was never his in the beginning. That's why the prophecy said that your children will be afflicted, and they will serve their enemies, and their enemies shall judge them. But when our captivity is up, he's going to judge our enemies that afflicted us for these 400 years. But Jesus was an engraven image who they used to take our image. And he said, and I say unto thee, let my son go that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. So right here, he lets Pharaoh know his relationship to his son, his real son, Israel. And we know that the Most High Yah said he don't change. So if he don't change, there was never a reason for the New Testament, because that's what new represents, change. If I wear the same clothes every day, but I decide to take a shower and put on a different pair of clothes, that's change. See, we ain't need the New Testament. The Most High said his laws and his statutes and his commandments, they are already perfect. And if JC came to, he said he came not to do away with them, but to whatever lie he said, if he came to do that, he wouldn't have died on the cross. No prophet that served the Most High died like JC. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego served the Most High. The king Nebuchadnezzar tried to get them to bow down to an engraven image that he made, just like how here in captivity, how they got an engraven image for us to bow down to. But they wouldn't bow down to him. And for showing their faith to Yah still allowed them to get thrown into the fire. And he turned the fire up 7 times the degree that it was. And when he tossed them in there, the only ones that burned was the men that tossed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire. But for them being faithful and loyal to Yah, saying, no, we're not going to bow down to your image, the fire never kindled a hair on them. Neither did they, you couldn't even smell fire on them for their loyalty towards the Most High. So him saying that he came to not do away with the commandments, but to, I can't think of the word what he said, but we all know it was still a lie. He died and he was forsaken. The Most High said he will never forsake Israel. But JC got forsaken because he was a false prophet. I'm going to show you a contradiction, a real quick contradiction in Revelations. I could show you a million contradictions in this Testament, in the New Testament. But people say that, or it's supposedly say that he was born of a virgin. But right here he say, I, Jesus, in Revelation 22, verse 16, I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David. But hold on. Jesse and Mary was the mama that the Most High told him that he was going to put a baby in her through the Spirit. But now he's saying he came through the body of David. And he said, I'm the bright and morning star. So how did he come through David if he was put in his mother by the Spirit? If he's the root and offspring of David, that means David had to go into a woman to create JC, but that never happened. Right here, same script, Revelations 22, verse 12, he said, behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. So he came from the Spirit placed in his mama. Then he's the root and offspring of David. And he is the first and the last. And he is the son of Yah. That's too many contradictions right there. You understand? But our people still believe in him. But I'm going to go to Isaiah chapter 43.
Thank you, Sal. And can you hear me loud and clear, by the way?
Yeah, you good. You loud and clear.
Always got to do a mic check. Okay. And thank you again for coming out to listen to this debate. I just find it funny that my opponent seemed to have missed the memo on the title of this debate. It's titled, Did Jesus Christ Really Exist? Not how you feel about the doctrines of Christianity. Because what he's doing is he's trying to say that since he doesn't agree with the doctrine of Christianity, that means Jesus Christ didn't exist. If we use that logic, I can say, since I don't believe in the doctrine of Islam, I don't believe Muhammad existed. But Muhammad is a well-established historical figure, just like Jesus Christ. This guy is boring us with useless details and not even addressing the issue at hand. So I'm going to address the issue at hand. First of all, we're going to start out at Daniel 9 and verses 24 to 26. Why are we starting here? Because Daniel gave a prophecy of the time period that the Messiah would show up in history. Again, this is Daniel chapter 9, 24 through 26. This is when Daniel was praying for understanding, and the angel Gabriel came to explain to him what was going to happen in the future concerning Israel. Look what it says. Verse 24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city. It's at 70 weeks. This is not talking about 70 literal weeks. This is known as weeks of years. The Bible has what is called weeks of years. Some people call them prophetic weeks, where 1 week equals not 7 days, but 7 years. So it says 70 weeks. So 70 weeks. So that'll be 7 years times 70, which will give you 490 years. You can look this up in the book of Genesis where Jacob had to work 7 years before he was allowed to marry Rachel, and Laban said fulfill her week. Even though it was 7 years, he called it a week. You can also read about the 7-year week in the law concerning the year of Jubilee, where each week is counted as 7 years. But look what it says. And upon thy holy city to finish the transgression 490 years, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up division and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. 70 weeks are determined to do all of this, right? Look what it says. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem, because Jerusalem had been destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar. So it's letting you know that from the commandment to restore and rebuild Jerusalem and the temple until Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. That is 69 weeks, right? So it's going to be 69 weeks, which adds up to 483 years, right? So it's letting you know it's going to be at least 483 years before you get to Messiah the Prince. Look what it says. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks, you already got your 7 weeks that you already added in verse 25 to the 62 weeks, which give you 69. It says, shall Messiah be cut off? So it's telling you after 400 and something odd years, if you do the math, you can see that the Messiah was going to come at approximately 490 years altogether and die from the time that Daniel received this prophecy. But let me show you what else it says right here. It says, after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. After 69 weeks. You follow what I'm saying? And then on the last week, that last prophetic week, it goes off into something else, which we're not going to get into. We're just trying to get the Messiah here, the time period in which the Messiah was supposed to arrive, right? Look what it says. The Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Sisters and brothers, it is a well-established historical fact that the temple was destroyed again in 70 AD. So whatever Messiah that Daniel was speaking of had to arrive sometime in the 1st century before then. That's the sequence. First the Messiah comes, then he's cut off, which means killed, and then the temple is destroyed. So if this guy's telling us that Jesus didn't exist, then where is this Messiah that was supposed to show up in the 1st century, but yet die before the temple was destroyed in 70 AD? He doesn't understand prophecy. It's clear from the time this brother opened his mouth that he's only repeating what somebody told him. The purpose of this debate is to prove whether Jesus really existed in history or not to speak on what you think about Christian doctrine, which the brother thinks he don't seem to be able to tell the difference between the two. So now we're going to go and see if we can establish Jesus Christ in history. Just like we establish Julius Caesar and other people in history, Alexander the Great. Let's see if Jesus Christ can be established in history. First, we're going to go to the writings of Cornelius Tacitus, right? He was a senator and historian in the Roman Empire. He wrote a book or a treatise called The Annals of Imperial Rome. And we're reading this right here in 15.44, right? We're reading this. Now let's see what it says, right? Consequently, to get rid of the report, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations called Christians. Wait a minute. Christians? This is in the 1st century, sisters and brothers. You follow what I'm saying? But look what else it says. By the populace, is that called Christian by the populace. Christus, which is the Latin form of Christ, from whom the name has its origin, about Jesus, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilatus, which is Pontius Pilate, who you read about in the New Testament. Notice that this Roman historian, whose writings are considered authentic by all historical scholars, mostly all of them, is talking about Jesus Christ existing and being executed by one of their procurators, Pontius Pilatus. And a most mischievous superstition does check for the moment. Again, broke out not only in Judea, the first part of the evil, but he said not only in Judea, the first part of the evil, which is where Christianity really first started, right? But even in Rome, where all things hideous and shameful from every part of the world find their center and become popular. Accordingly, an arrest was first made of all who pleaded guilty. Then upon their information, in the midst multitude was convicted, not so much of the crime of firing the city as of hatred against mankind, because that's what they said the Christians were doing. They hated mankind. But this guy said that Jesus is a historian, write about Jesus as a real-life established figure in history, not something made up by Esau, which my opponent has yet to prove. Right? But let's look at another historical source. This is the new complete works of Josephus. Josephus was a Hebrew historian, and he was a Levite. This is his works. This is Antiquities 20.9.1, paragraph 200. Let's see what he said. It says, Festus was now dead, and Albinus was but upon the road. So he assembled the Sanhedrin, which is a Jewish council, of judges, and brought before them the brother of Jesus, who was called Christ, whose name was James. Wait a minute. How can Josephus speak about Jesus having a brother called James if Jesus Christ never existed in history? That doesn't make any sense. And Josephus was not a Christian, so he has no reason to mention Christ unless Christ actually existed. And he also said that he had a brother, a blood brother named James, if you happen, and some others or some of his companions, other Christians. And when he had formed an accusation against them as breakers of the law, he delivered them to be stoned. Again, a historical reference to Jesus Christ and his followers, Christians. Remember, sisters and brothers, don't let this brother get you off the topic. The topic is, did Jesus Christ really exist? And the way we go about establishing if historical figures existed is from historical records. Notice I'm not using the Bible to prove his existence. I'm going outside outside the Bible. To deny that Jesus Christ existed in history would be like denying that Alexander the Great existed in history, or Hammurabi existed in history, or Aristotle existed in history. Because he's written about and well documented. In fact, Jesus Christ, when you include the Gospels, is the most established figure in the history of mankind. But look, and notice it said, Josephus said that Jesus had a brother named James. Let's see if the Bible confirms that. This is Galatians 1:18-19. We read about Paul's visit up to Jerusalem. Look what he says, Galatians 1:18-19. Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter and abode with him 15 days. Verse 19. But other of the apostles saw I none, save James, the Lord's brother. Notice that Josephus confirmed that there was a man in history who had followers called Christians who had a blood brother named James. But Josephus was not a Christian. So you can't say, well, he was a Christian, so of course he going to write that. He was not a Christian. And he confirmed the same thing about this guy having a blood brother named James, which again validated Jesus as a real-life historical figure in history, not some fictitious character that my opponent is yet to prove is the case. He just, well, I don't believe in virgin birth. There's contradictions in the New Testament. Bro, you don't know how to stay on topic. Your job is to prove that Jesus is a made-up character, not debunking doctrines of Christianity, which I can debate you on that and show you're wrong about that, too. I can't even believe you made the stupid statement that no prophet ever was forsaken by the Lord. I guess you don't know anything about the prophets that Jezebel killed. She killed hundreds of prophets. I guess you don't remember them. Or that every time God sent a prophet to ancient Israel, they killed them. He said, I set them up rising early in the morning. This is 2 Chronicles 36, which proves you don't even know the Old Testament, bro. How can anybody claim to be a Hebrew Israelite and don't know that Israel was killing their own prophets? So, brother, you ignorant all around the board. Then you got the nerve to try to go into the New Testament after you made an ignorant statement like that? Bro, this is a serious mismatch of a debate. You have no business here. This is Antiquities 18.5.2. And I'm not insulting you or condescending to you. I'm just telling it like it is. This is Antiquities 18.5.2. This is paragraph 115 to 117. Again, Josephus. We've seen Josephus write about the brother of Jesus. Now let's see if he wrote about the cousin of Jesus. This is John the Baptist. Look what it says. Now, some of the Jews thought that the destruction of Herod's army came from God, and that very justly, as a punishment of what he did against John, that was called the Baptist. You can read about John the Baptist in the New Testament. Let's see what Josephus says about him, who was a non-Christian. He just reported the history of people who actually lived and existed in Jerusalem in the 1st century. That's all he's doing. Look what he says right here. For Herod slew him. That agrees with the New Testament account. You can read that. Who was a good man. The New Testament also tells you that the multitude considered John the Baptist to be a prophet. So it agrees with that. Because if you consider him to be a true prophet of God, then you consider him to be a good man. And commanded the Jews to exercise virtue. You can read what John the Baptist was telling these people to repent, both as to righteousness toward one another and piety towards God. And so to come to baptism, you can read that in the New Testament, for that the washing with water would be acceptable to him, if they made use of it, not in order to put them away or the remission of some sins only, but for the purification of the body, supposing still that the soul was thoroughly purified beforehand by righteousness. This is what John the Baptist was telling people to do. Really repent. Show the fruit of repentance before you get baptized. Again, this agrees with the New Testament account. If Jesus' brother existed, and Jesus' cousin existed, and Josephus, as we're going to see later on, mentioned Jesus Christ himself, again, just focusing on him, and he already mentioned him as being the brother of James. Where is this guy getting the notion that Jesus Christ is a made-up character when you got Roman and Hebrew historians writing about him as a living, breathing reality in history? The brother is just repeating what he was told. And as this debate continues, I'm going to reveal more and more of his falsehood. That's all for now.
Okay, well, this guy's saying that it's a mismatch, but he's going outside of Scripture proven by the mouth of heathens that came and got us from our land and brung us into captivity. The ones that took our name, Hebrew Israelite, called us African Americans. The ones that told us the Bible is no longer, the Old Testament is done away with, now only listen to the New Testament. A total madman has to believe something like that. That the Old Testament is done away with, but now listen to Christ. When the Most High Yah speaks all through the Old Testament about his son Israel. That's it. Never said one thing about Christ or Christianity. Christ isn't even his last name. His name is Jesus the Christ. And we know in Roman is supposed to replace the Hebrew word Messiah. That's why y'all call him the Messiah, but he's not. He's the Christ as they stated him to be. And he's not even anointed at all. David is the anointed, and David will be the king that will be anointed. Messiah means he's just the king, anointed. Jesus can't be all these things that he claimed to be and still exist. But you want to go outside of text. Even you didn't even use your own New Testament to prove that he exists. That's how you know it's a total falsification. You didn't even go to that. But I guess you're going to go to that a little bit later. But right here in Ezekiel, I already showed you that JC said he didn't come to send peace on earth, but he came to bring the sword. Well, I'm going to show you who Yah said he's going to give peace to. In Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 22, and I'm going to read down. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountain of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall no more be two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, which JC is. As I stated before, you can find a statue of him anywhere in America you want to, and they probably any other country. Nor with their detestable things. So Jesus is detestable. Nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places. See, this is not one particular son that he's talking about. He's talking about a nation of people, his tribes, his children that he chose from Yahudah. This is not one particular person. But I will save them all out of their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. See, John the Baptist, I believe that he baptized JC in toilet water. Because right here, he say, I will cleanse them so that they shall be my people, and I will be their father. And David, my servant, shall be king over them. And they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Yahudah, my servant, wherein your forefathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them. And I will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. And we know his sanctuary is his home. So JC has nothing to do with this because his name was never mentioned. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their father, and they shall be my people. And the heathen, the Romans, that false doctrine that you believe in, they shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary, my home, shall be in the midst of them forevermore. JC ain't got nothing to do with this, good brother. And why I said John baptized them in toilet water, because I know that water wasn't clean. Ain't no water in Babylon clean. And the Most High Yah never sanctioned nobody to do baptism. He's the baptizer. Ezekiel 36, verse 22. Therefore, say unto the house of Israel, thus saith Yahweh, I do not, I'm sorry, I went down too far. Okay, right here. It's verse 20. And when they entered into the heathen where they went, they profaned my holy name. When they said to them, these are the people of Yahweh, and are gone forth out of his land. But I had pity for my holy name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen where they went. Therefore say to the house of Israel, thus saith Yahweh, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen where ye went. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye profane in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, saith Yahweh, when I shall sanctify it in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen, and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness. Now, we know this hasn't happened yet. So for them to say they was cleansing, you know that has to be false. This, you can't cleanse nobody from their sins unless you're Yah. That's why he said again, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness, from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. This is going to happen to the children of Israel and Israel only. That's why he called us his children, because the new covenant was that this will no longer be on a table, but he will place the new covenant in our heart. And this is the surgery that's going to take place when we go through this with the Most High, with this cleansing. He's going to cleanse us, sprinkle us with clean water. From all our filthiness and from all our idols will he cleanse you. So, good brother, by you being an Israelite and you teaching JC, you still get cleansed from this idol, this false food that was created. And a new heart also will I give you, a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh. Because you have to have a stony heart not to understand that Yah is one and there is none else. And he also said who his son was, and that's Israel. And he ain't never take away him from being his son. And I will give you a heart of flesh. Take away their stony heart and give you a pure, clean heart. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. And ye shall keep my judgments and do them. See, after the surgery, then we gon' know his laws, his commandments, his statutes, his judgments. We ain't gonna never pray to another false god again. And to say that this JC is the Messiah, he has to come from the tribe of Yahudah. But in the New Testament, JC said, the Father sent me to preach the gospel. Well, we know that the Levites were sent to preach the gospel. So JC will have to be a Levite, good brother. He wouldn't be from the tribe of Yahudah. The Messiah comes from the tribe of Yahudah, which would be King David. So all these lies that was placed on JC was to steal from the Most High. But the Most High stated in Isaiah 44, chapter 42, verse 8. I am Yahweh. That is my name, and my glory will I not give to another.
Okay, time is up. You're now listening to Debate Talk for You Radio. The number is 646-716-7320. That's 646-716-7320. I want to give a shout-out to those international listeners out there that are sending me emails right now, and we know that they're listening to Debate Talk for You right now, enjoying this debate. I really appreciate you guys. For those people that's overseas, just in case you can't get through via phone, you can, just a reminder, you can call in via Skype, and that will bring you directly into the show. So if you're not unable to call in via phone, you can call in via Skype with the number 646-716-7320. All right, right about now, we're in the rebuttal part of this debate. It's 10 minutes each, so now we're going to go to Brother Josh with his 10-minute rebuttal. Let me open up his phone line, and go ahead, brother.
Thanks again, Sal. And like I was saying, man, the brother has no business on Debate Talk for You because he don't know how to stay on topic. The debate is about whether Jesus Christ existed. When he challenged me when I was teaching my lesson, he said he believed that Jesus Christ was a fictitious character. I asked him, do you mean that doesn't mean that Jesus was made up? He didn't really exist. He said, yes. The debate is not on whether Jesus were the things he claimed to be or whether what the Christians say about him are true or not. That's not the debate, and the brother needs to get that through his head. The debate is whether he existed in history or not. And the brother can't seem to comprehend the difference between the two. I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of y'all believe in the philosophy of Martin Luther King. A lot of y'all don't. But just because you don't believe in his philosophy doesn't mean you'll be stupid enough to jump up and say, well, Martin Luther King never existed. See, this is what this brother is doing. Because he don't believe in the teachings and the tenets of Christ, he's trying to deny his existence altogether. When even the so-called Jew who believe that Jesus was not the Messiah don't even try to do that. They admit, well, some guy in Jesus or Yeshua, or in history named Yeshua, did exist. We just believe he was a false Messiah. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue on the topic and keep proving through historical accounts that Jesus existed. The brother said, you didn't even go to your own New Testament. Now, why in the world would I do that when the brother already said from the rip that he don't believe the New Testament? And then you take him to another outside part, oh, those heathens. Those heathens. Last time I checked, it was those heathens that reported what happened to us in history. Slaves could not read or write. I bet you this brother picks up a history book every time he want to prove to you that he's an Israelite. I bet he picks up a history book then. Did you know that those same heathens that put you in captivity wrote the history of what happened to the slaves in America? Yes, they did. Slaves couldn't read or write. So these narratives and these historical accounts of slavery that you read were written by the heathen. Don't be a hypocrite, bro. Don't pick and choose when you want to say, oh, this is authentic, but this is heathen right now. So we can't believe that. Please, if you read these accounts that I'm about to read you, these heathens were persecuting the Christians. So why would they give the Christians, the Hebrews or the Christians, a religion and then persecute them for following it? Because you say that Esau is wrong. That's what you're saying, these heathens. So why would Esau give you a religion to deceive you and then kill you when you follow it? That doesn't make any sense, just like your argument doesn't make any sense. But here's another historical quote proving that Jesus was a real-life historical figure. We're not here to debate whether he was born of a virgin or whether he was God in the flesh. No, we're trying to take this one step at a time. We're here to debate if he actually existed as a historical figure, right? This is from Pliny the Younger. He was the governor of Pontus, or also known as Bithynia, and he was governing from 111 to 113 A.D. This is in his letter to the Emperor Trajan. We're proving that Jesus existed and that the Christians got their belief, from this man named Jesus Christ or Yeshua HaMashiach. Look what it says. Meanwhile, in the case of those who were denounced to me as Christians, he's writing to the Emperor of Trajan of how he's supposed to deal with these Christians. I have observed the following procedure. I interrogated these as to whether they were Christians. Those who confessed, I interrogated a second and a third time, threatening them with punishment. Those who persisted, I ordered executed. For I have no doubt that whatever the nature of their creed, stubbornness and inflexible obstinacy surely deserve to be punished. They were punishing Christians because the Christians refused to acknowledge the Roman God. So how the Romans don't give you Christianity and then persecute you when you practice it? That doesn't make any sense. They were persecuting Christians because history tells you that Christians denied all pagan gods and only believed in Jesus Christ. But this brother don't know any history. You notice he also didn't deal with the prophecy in the book of Daniel, which he probably doesn't even have a clue what it's talking about. So he's just going to ignore that, and that's what these brothers do. When you debate somebody, you have to address what they said and refute it, then present your argument. Or vice versa. It don't matter what order you do it in, but you have to do both of those. Just ignoring what I say and putting out your perspective, that's not going to get you anywhere with me, buddy, and it's not going to get you anywhere with the debate talk for you audience, not those who are really seeking truth. Look what it says right here. There were others possessed of the same folly, that means following Christ, but because they were Roman citizens, I signed in order for them to be transferred to Rome. So he didn't immediately execute the ones that were Roman citizens and Christians, right? So this is more proof that Jesus existed in history. Notice it says this guy governed from 111 to 113, which means Christianity was already in existence. Most scholars place the day of death of Jesus around 33 A.D. Somewhere in that reach from 29 A.D. to 33 A.D., they place Jesus' death by crucifixion in that general area. And then scholars also agree that the gospel immediately started spreading a few years afterwards. So if you do the math, that means that people were spreading the gospel of Christ within less than 60 years from the time that Jesus was crucified. And yet, you're trying to tell me Jesus didn't exist? How long ago did slavery exist? You weren't there, but yet you believe it. Y'all, we've been in captivity for 400 years. That's 400 years removed, but you believe all these heathen historical accounts that slavery happened. But yet I show you a historical account about Jesus Christ that happened within 60 years or less. So what happened to him, you say, oh, that's made up. And I did go to the New Testament for the record, brother. You don't listen. Last time I checked, Galatians 1:18 through 19 was a book in the New Testament. But I'm not going to spend that much time in the New Testament because you don't believe it. You already said that. So I'm just showing you in history. You've picked up a history book before, bro. Don't act like you haven't. So why when I pick one up, oh, it's those heathen. That's that same Hebrew Israelite hypocrisy. When you pick up a history book, oh, the so-called white man wrote that. You can't believe that. But when they pick up a history book written by the same so-called white man, it's supposed to be authentic. You can't be that way, bro. That's hypocrisy. But this is another one from the Talmud. This is the Babylonian Talmud. This is Sanhedrin 43:8. Look what they say about Jesus Christ. They didn't even believe him, but they still acknowledge that he existed. Even the enemies of Christ couldn't deny that he existed. Look what it says. They hang Yeshua. It was written in Aramaic. So they use the name Yeshua. We know that's the Aramaic equivalent of what we know as Jesus. They hang Yeshua on the Sabbath of the Passover. But for 40 days before that, a Herod went in front of him crying. Everybody knows that the New Testament said that Jesus was killed on the Passover. We know that. Yeshua is to be stoned because he practiced sorcery. We also know from the New Testament that the Pharisees accused Jesus of performing miracles through Satan, which would be sorcery, right? And this is what they were saying about him. Yeshua is to be stoned because he practiced sorcery, but he didn't get stoned. He got hung, like it said. And seduced Israel and led them away from God. They also called Jesus a deceiver. This is what the so-called Hebrew Israelites were saying about him. Notice nobody in history is ever arguing that the Messiah existed. They only argue about what they thought concerning him. Nobody ever argued about whether Jesus existed or not. That's a modern-day thing that these modern-day elders and idealists came up with. But nowhere in history is it ever argued whether the man actually existed or not. So listen to this. It says, anyone who can provide evidence on his behalf should come forward to defend him. When, however, nothing favorable about him was found, he was hanged on the Sabbath of the Passover. That's exactly what the New Testament says about him. The only difference between this and the New Testament is that these people who wrote this believed that Jesus was false. They believed he was a sorcerer and a deceiver, but they did not deny that the man actually lived. So again, I want my opponent to stop trying to attack the doctrinal tenets of Christianity and deal with the issue at hand. Prove to us that Jesus was created. He's fictitious. Give us the names of the people who came up with the story of Jesus Christ. But if you can't do that, you really need to just give it up. That's all for now.
Okay, right here, I just want to read this real fast. I'm going to expedite it kind of. This is Deuteronomy 28. And first, I want to ask Brother Josh, do you know what an engraven image is?
Yes, I do. It's like a statue or a physical representation carved to represent anything that is either as a decoration or something that is worship.
Okay, thank you. Now, Brother Josh, you answered that question, okay? And at the same time after you answered that, you asked me, why am I not staying on topic? You saying the topic is, does JC exist? And I am staying on topic because I'm telling you that he is an engraven image. That's the whole purpose of me reading these scriptures, not just to show you that I know how to read. It's to show you that I have to attack your doctrine because the New Testament that you believe in uplifts JC over the children of Israel and most of all over the Most High. He totally contradicts everything the Most High say. So I have to attack the doctrine so that I can attack him because that's his doctrine. That's the only reason why I'm attacking him. How can I attack him without attacking the doctrine when that's the whole purpose of me saying he don't exist? Because I read the New Testament. I know he don't exist. So that's the reason why I'm asking you, what is an engraven image? Because if you know what that is, that's the reason why I'm showing you that he's an engraven image. He's a statue.
Well, let me respond.
He don't have breath.
Let me respond.
Let him respond. Give him time to respond.
What you're doing is you're saying that just because somebody made an idol to a man, that means the man didn't exist. That's foolishness, bro. They made idols to all great people. The only difference between Jesus Christ and everybody else is that you weren't supposed to do that to him. I'm not denying that people are making graven images of Jesus Christ as well as angels and prophets and apostles and everybody else, especially in Roman Catholicism. But what you're trying to sell these people is a wolf ticket. You're trying to tell them that people make graven images to Jesus, that means he doesn't exist. So I guess if I made a statue of you right now and started worshiping you, you would say 100 years later that you didn't really exist. Would you say that? I don't think you would, bro. So I mean, because it's plain that I do exist, but it's not plain that JC do. But this is why I was going to read Deuteronomy 28. I'm gonna expedite this. He told us everything that we did right that he would do, he would bless us. But right here we didn't. We failed. He said, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Father, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So these is curses that is befalling our people for not listening to the Most High. And this is the reason why he sent us here. But I'm going to expedite that because I wanted to show y'all these are the curses. But if you go to 64, these is one of the curses that befalled our people when we came here to America. And he said, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth, even to the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Now, there's something crazy about this because I know that cross they always said is made of wood, and I'm always seeing these statues, like I said and stated, JC, or images of stone. And the Most High said, I'm going to scatter you among these people. And we are in America, and we're not in our land. We don't have our own identity or nothing. And one end of the earth, even to the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods. And we know that in this text that he's talking about deities, idols. Because he said, there is no other God but me. So we know when he see these small letters, gods, he's talking about deities, false.
Yeah, hold on, Brother Michael, hold on. Just letting you know, we're like 4 minutes into your cross-examination time. So, if you have any more questions, you can go ahead with your questions, brother. Just letting you know the time limit is going.
Yeah, well, Mike. I just want to know, what do you think about that? About wood and stone and the cross that we always see is made of wood and Jesus made. Why would he say, I'm going to send you into this strange land? And why is all this taking place? These are prophecies from the Most High. This is not nothing. They didn't write this, brother.
Well, it happened because the Most High said it was going to happen. I'm not denying that people make graven images, not only to Jesus Christ, but other forms of religions. Israel is doing that. I'm not denying that. But the title of the debate is, did Jesus Christ exist? Did he really exist? Like, he's a historical figure. Like, did he exist like, say, Alexander the Great? Did he exist, say, like Julius Caesar? That's what we're trying to determine. They made idols for
I
Alexander
understand that, but he came from Jesus. He didn't.
Well,
his name wasn't changed from Yahshua to Jesus. It was turned from Jesus to Jesus.
Wait a minute, let me answer.
Not Joshua.
Let me answer. Do you understand the concept of what I mean when I say, did he exist? Like, does Michael exist? 100 years from now, would there be a debate over whether Michael, who I'm debating right now, actually existed? We're not going to debate about what Michael believed or what people thought about Michael. What we want to know is, did Michael actually exist? And you don't seem to be able to grasp that concept about what does it mean to exist. Was he an actual person that was born, lived, breathed, and died? That's what I'm trying to get at. And you talking about doctrine and curses in Deuteronomy 28, you're taking these people off track, bro. I want you to prove that Jesus did not exist and that he was created by somebody. If he was made up, show the people who made him up. Show the people, prove to the people who came up with the story of Jesus Christ, wrote it down, and told it to us. That's what we're looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
What you got, Michael?
Is on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, again, it's like, man, I mean, I don't know how I could get you to see that this man was an engraven image, and this character was an engraven image, and that he was made up. You understand that? I don't understand how I could get you to see that he was the deity. People say that Joshua had his. First of all, this was never written by the heathen. This was translated from Hebrew to English text. And they did dibble and dabble in it. That's why Yahweh's name ain't written in here as Lord and God. So it was never written by them, first of all. It was just translated. And I don't know how else I could to understand that this man was made up, bro. We were sent here to worship him. He's made of wood and stone, and he don't have no breath in him. But if you want to feel like he was living, that's not Jesus. He's a real character. Because for him to exist, we should worship him. We should follow him, bow down to his graven images, because that's what he wants us to do. You said the Most High never left him. So for him to exist.
All I can say to all of that is, only thing you're proving to the audience is that people have made idols of Jesus Christ. By making idols of somebody, that does not disprove their existence. That's my answer. And you're not going to get me to see that just by saying that. So you're wasting your time. If that's all you got.
Yeah, Yah is all I need, good brother. You know, you just, I could show you something right fast.
You may not have the time.
I got time. This right here, the curse that we under is a sleep. When the Most High sent Isaiah, he said, go and tell the people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. You just ain't going to understand this. You're going to hear it, but you ain't going to listen. You're going to see it, but you ain't going to perceive it, because you're just stuck on JC, bro. And a lot of your teachings, like the last teaching you taught was about us afflicting the heathen or the
Okay, 10 minutes is up. Once again, you're now listening to Debate Talk for You. The title of this debate, Did Jesus Christ Really Exist? Once again, did Jesus Christ really exist? My special guest is Michael Yahudah and Brother Josh. The number is 646-716-7320. I see you guys pressing number 1. I see you guys. We're going to get to you guys. I know you guys can't wait to ask your questions and your comments. I can't wait to hear from you guys as well. But right about now, we're still in the cross-examination part of this debate. After the cross-examination, we're going to have like a 5-minute intermission. Then after that will be a second rebuttal. And after that will be the public Q&A, where you, the listening audience, will call in with your questions and your comments. So all of you guys that press the number 1, stand by. I'm going to get to you. I can't wait to get to you guys in the public Q&A. But right about now, we got to let Brother Josh get his questions to Michael right now. So let me open up both of the brothers' phone lines. It's Brother Josh's turn to ask questions to Brother Michael. And you can go ahead.
Thank you, Sal. Brother Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but did I hear you say earlier that Jesus was forsaken and that no true prophet was forsaken? You even mentioned a couple of people like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So am I to understand you correctly that you said no true prophet of the Lord was killed or ever forsaken?
False prophets was forsaken.
But not true prophets.
Not that did the laws and the commandments, but if you can show me, then I don't reject knowledge, bro. If you can show me that,
okay.
Then I
Could you turn to 1
accept it.
Kings 18 and 13? Can you turn to 1 Kings 18 and 13?
First
Because
Kings.
Yes, 18 and 13. Because you do realize that if I showed you that, then you have to take back that Jesus being crucified or killed doesn't prove that he was a false prophet. And also, you can't say that Jesus was killed and
You
forsaken
said First
anyway.
Kings what?
18 and 13. And you can't say that Jesus was killed anyway because, as you just said, Jesus didn't exist. So he can't die if he never existed. So that's a contradiction within itself. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. 1 Kings 18 and 13. Could you read that to the debate talk for your audience, please?
To me?
Yes, could you read that, please? Or do you want me to read it?
You read it. It's yours.
Oh, okay, I'll read it. It says, was it not told my Lord what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Lord, how I hid 100 men of the Lord's prophets by 50 in the cave and fed them with bread and water. Now, he said they slew the prophets of the Lord. And now, if you are a prophet of the Lord, does that mean you're a true prophet?
If you are the prophet of the Lord, but that is a lowercase L, so I have to read and
about what
he's talking about.
That's not a lowercase L. That is not a lowercase L.
But because when they say Lord with the lowercase L, that's not talking about Yah. He's talking about a king.
But that is not a lowercase L. That is a capital L, and that's the word Yahweh or Yahweh or whatever name you want to use. That's what's there. So it says in first. Why don't you read it for yourself and you tell me there's a capital L or a lowercase L there. There's no way you're reading
okay,
this.
Okay, yeah, you're right, brother. I'm sorry. He said it is a capital case L.
Okay, so were these true prophets of the Lord? Yes or no?
That's what the scriptures say.
So then that means you were wrong. Do you admit you were wrong when you said a true prophet is never forsaken or killed? Does that mean you admit you were wrong when you said that?
Well, right here, that's what it looked like.
Okay, now let's turn to Nehemiah 9 verse 26. I'm showing that you're throwing not only strong arguments out there, but you're throwing arguments out there that are not even congruent with what the Old Testament says.
Nehemiah
were always killed. Nehemiah 9 and 26. When you get there, let me know. I'll read it.
Read it.
It says right here, nevertheless, they were disobedient to all Israel and rebelled against thee and cast thy law behind their backs and slew thy prophets which testified against them to turn them to thee and wrought great provocation. So it said he slew thy prophets. Or these two prophets of the Lord who was telling Israel to stop sinning and obey God's law. Were these
you
two
say
prophets?
Nehemiah what again? I'm sorry. Say that again one more time.
9 and 26. Nehemiah 9 and 26.
Okay, I'm there.
Let me read it again. It says, nevertheless, they were disobedient and rebelled against thee and cast thy law behind their backs, about rebellious Israel, and slew thy prophets, about the prophets of the Most High, which testified against them to turn them to thee, and they wrought great provocation. So again, my question is, according to Nehemiah 9 and 26, were true prophets ever killed or forsaken?
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It say, nevertheless, with disobeying, they rebelled against thee and casting a lot behind their back and slew the prophets. But y'all didn't slay these prophets.
No,
y'all didn't slay these prophets. Other people slayed these prophets.
Other people slayed Jesus. Other people slayed Jesus.
But you're right. People did get slaved even though they did serve him. He did allow these men to get slaved.
Right.
That's what it says.
But you said a true prophet would never be forsaken by God. So again, I ask, are you going to be willing to admit to the debate talking you on audience that you were in gross error when you made that statement concerning Jesus Christ?
Okay, yeah, I was in error. Yeah, I was in error when I made that statement. I see that a prophet did. But that still don't.
Let's move on.
Okay,
that's over.
Praise.
One at a time, fellas. One at a time. All right, go ahead, Josh.
Let's move on. I don't want to dwell on that. You've already seen it, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. My next question is, do you know who Alexander the Great was?
Kind of. Alexander, I know he was a Roman or something like that. I know he was a heathen.
He was a Greek.
A leper.
He was a Greek. Yes, he's from the leopard. That's right, the leopard empire. That is correct. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe he existed?
He maybe did.
No, I said, do you believe he existed? Like he ever lived?
I mean, possibly, bro. I mean, I don't really know. He could have.
Do you read the Apocrypha?
No, I don't.
Okay, are you familiar with Alexander the Great being over the Greek Empire that he talks about in the book of Daniel?
Continue on.
Okay.
I ain't hip to that.
Forget Alexander the Great. Forget Alexander the Great. Do you believe George Washington, the so-called first president of America?
Yeah, I believe in George Washington.
You believe he existed? How do you know?
I really don't believe none of these stories these heathens gave us, bro. To be truthful, I don't believe in none of these stories these heathens gave us because I know that they wicked, and I know that we were sent here to the land of wickedness, and everything they're gonna tell us is
so you don't
wicked.
Believe in slavery? You don't believe in slavery either?
Yeah, but I know that for a fact because I just read Deuteronomy 28, and the Most High said, "This is how we got here."
Oh no! You read a prophecy, but you didn't actually.
And also, I'm here.
But let me finish. You didn't actually see or experience slavery. It's just history to you. So if you were never there or never lived through it, then that means you believe what these heathens told you about it. Because our people couldn't read or write. So do you believe that slavery actually happened, even though you didn't personally see or experience it?
I did experience. I'm in slavery right now. What you mean I didn't experience? I'm here. I didn't experience that kind of slavery where I was thrown in the ocean with a shark. I'm in slavery right now, bro. The 400 years ain't over. He said you're going to be held in affliction and afflicted for 400 years.
That's the one I'm talking about with the ocean and the shark. Do you believe that happened?
Yes.
Who told you that happened?
The heathens.
But
they showed us.
I just thought you said you don't believe that nothing that the heathens say. I just thought you just said that.
Well, if it lines up with Scripture, that's what the Most High said happened, then I believe it because the Most High said it was going to happen. But most of their stuff don't line up with what the Most High say. So whatever they say, if it lines up with Yah, just like they said we was going to be slaves, in the Scripture it say that we was going to be sent to a land through slavery. You see, that lines up.
So you can show me in Scripture where we was through into the ocean and the shark ate us. You can show me that in Scripture.
I never said that, good brother. I said I could line that up, slavery, with the word of the Most High.
No, you said you believe.
JC been a Messiah. I can't align that nowhere with the Most High. You see, when the heathens gave us that story, it didn't align with the Most High. It was totally against the Most High.
In Daniel 9, it said the Messiah would be cut off in the 1st century before the temple was destroyed. That ain't the word of the Most High in Daniel chapter 9?
David was cut off.
In the 1st century?
David was cut off. David is the Messiah, brother.
No, I'm sorry, 490 years after Daniel. 490 years after Daniel, David existed. That's my question to you, yes or no?
No, brother. What you ain't realizing is David is going to be awakened. He's going to be awakened.
Yes or no?
Huh?
Did David live 490 years after Daniel and died? Yes or no? That's what Daniel says. Did David do that? Yes or no?
Did he live over 400 and how many years and die?
Did he live 490 years after Daniel? Did David live in the 1st century and got cut off and died before the temple was destroyed in 70 AD? Did that happen to David? Yes or no?
I don't know about 70 ADs and all that, bro. All
Well,
I know is David is who the Most High said that he will wake up to be king over the children of Israel. No one other than David.
That's what you're saying, right?
You're
saying you don't understand Daniel. So you're saying you don't understand Daniel 9. That's what you're saying, right?
No, I'm saying I do understand that that's not talking about JC.
I didn't say who was
I do understand
about. I
that.
said the Messiah was going to come 490 years after Daniel. That's what the prophet says. I didn't say who it was.
Yeah, but you're saying that the Messiah is JC, good brother. That's what.
I believe
that's why I said we're here in the title that JC don't exist.
It
You're
doesn't
saying
matter
that
who I believe it is.
Right about now, we're into the second rebuttal part of this debate, second rebuttal, and it's going to be 7 minutes each. So let's go to Brother Michael. We're going to open up his phone line, and you got 7 minutes, brother. Go ahead.
And what I was supposed to be doing again, I was daydreaming. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's your rebuttal time. If you want to, rebuttal anything, you go rebuttal.
Oh, okay, my rebuttal.
Yeah,
my rebuttal was, man, all the scriptures that I was going through is I was showing that in the Most High anger that Israel was disobedient to him, so he sent us into a strange land that our forefathers have not known. And the reason why I went to that Deuteronomy 28 was because that was part of the curses that we will serve false gods, wood and stone. Now, just because a man said that this man existed, well, I don't believe in the doctrines of a man. I believe what the Most High told me. That's why I ain't go outside the Bible to record history. I just went with what Yah said. AD and BC, before Christ and after the death, all that stuff is irrelevant to me. I just know that the Most High, his anger, sent us here to worship false gods, wood and stone. JC all over the place is made of stone, and his cross is made of wood. And here, what we were sent to be afflicted is the people that gave us this idolatry, this idolization. That's why it's repeated over and over again, repetitive. Put the false gods away. And if we keep saying that JC existed, is to believe that he really is the Messiah. This debate ain't just to say if he existed, it's to talk about what he represented and what he was here for. So to say he was here for anything still has to mean that he existed, and he didn't. He was made up by the wicked man to keep us in captivity, to keep us in slavery by calling on false gods. And it was predicted that this would happen to us for 400 years, and Esau did this. He put us under this spell. He put us under this curse. That's who the Most High used to do it. And when our affliction is up, even though you ain't understanding, good brother, the Most High is going to punish Esau for all this wickedness and all the corruption that he caused upon us and our family, and this blindfold that he put on us and all the affliction that he caused us. He's going to have to pay for what he's done. And that's really all I have to say. You know, like you said, I ain't going to be nowhere I can't prove to him that he doesn't exist. He don't believe that, even though he believed that he was a man and they made him a stone. Well, that was really Jesus, and they call him Jesus. That's not really Jesus. That's a falsified name. The J is always silent and make that H sound. That's how they came up with it. That is just a fake letter, good brother. That name is fake, is wicked, and it don't mean Yahshua. It doesn't have Yah in it. It represents Jesus, just like they said. The Jews wanted him to be the son because then they could say that they was the chosen people and that Jesus came through them. Then you will have Jehovah, Jerusalem, Judea, Jews. But see, it didn't come like that. It came Yah, Jerusalem, Yaakov. Everything is stamped with Yah's name on it. The people put the wicked man put that J on there so they could implement them as the chosen people, so they could take away us from being the chosen people. That's how you got that J there, and that's how you got JC there. He was put there to take our identity away from us. Praise Yah.
Okay, once again, you're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio. Right after this, Brother Josh, second rebuttal will be the public Q&A, guys. So right after this, I'm going to get to you, the people. I see there's a lot of questions in the queue, a lot of people pressing the number 1. Once again, if you have any questions, the number is 646-716-7320. Due to high volume of callers, of course, I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes each to ask a question or a comment, and we got to move on to the next person. We're trying to get to as much people as possible. But right about now, once again, we're still in the second rebuttal part of this debate. I'm going to give Brother Josh 7 minutes. Let me set this timer. Let me open up the phone line for the brother. And go ahead, brother.
Thank you, Sal. And thank everybody for still, I just say, enduring this. I'm just trying to get the brother to understand that he said this debate is not about whether Jesus exists or not. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what the title of the debate is. Now, if you have some kind of false assumption on what we was going to be talking about, then me and Sal, I'm pretty sure Sal would do that. We'll apologize to you for that, bro. But we thought it was pretty clear what we were trying to prove. But you just told on yourself. See, you have just revealed to the Debate Talk for You audience why you don't want to accept that Jesus was an actual man that walked this earth, because you don't want to acknowledge what it would mean for you if he did. That's why you were like, no, he didn't exist. But he's more established in history than any other figure. That's the whole thing that people don't get. I'm going to show y'all yet another source. This is from the New Complete Works of Josephus. This is Antiquity 18.3.3 and paragraph 63. The brother said, I don't do all these history books and doctrines of men. This is not a doctrine. A doctrine is not a teaching. A doctrine is a teaching. This is not a teaching. Josephus is not trying to teach you anything about Jesus as far as like trying to believe in him. He just recorded that the man existed. That's all he's doing. So this man, he didn't even know who Alexander the Great was. Come on. One thing I know Hebrew Israelites are supposed to be big on is history. They don't play any games about history. I know because I'm a Hebrew Israelite, but not in the same sense that they proclaim themselves to be Hebrew Israelites. But yes, I have my Hebrew Israelite roots, and I know that we're supposed to be big on history. This man said he don't even know who Alexander the Great was or what happened in 70 AD. He don't know any of that, right? But yet he's going to tell you who did not exist in history. When he just admitted he don't even believe history. Come on, that man don't pick up a history book before. Let's be serious. But this is Antiquities 18.3.3. This is what it says. Now there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, if it be lawful to call him a man, for he was a doer of wonderful works. This is him giving a historical account of Jesus. We already got a historical account of Jesus being the brother of James, which we verified with the Bible. We also got a historical account of John the Baptist, which the Bible talks about him too. This brother said John the Baptist was baptizing people in toilet water. No, from my understanding, he was baptizing people in the River Jordan, which is an actual place. And it's far from toilet water, bro. You need to be careful about what you say, right? It said he was a doer of wonderful works, miracles. Even the Talmud established that he was doing miracles. They just called it sorcery. Even Jesus' enemies don't try to deny that he existed. It was too much evidence that the man existed. They don't be like me trying to tell y'all Martin Luther King didn't exist. Please, it's too much evidence to prove it. It's too much historical evidence to prove that Jesus existed. So what does he say when you bring forth evidence? Well, I don't believe those heathens. This brother don't just go by the Bible. He don't pick up a history book before. Everything you know about black history was given to us by white people. Don't y'all understand that? The majority of it anyway, it was given to us by white people. But he don't want to get into that, though. It said he drew over to him, about Jesus, both many of the Jews and many of the Gentiles. He was the Christ. And when Pilate, which was another historical figure, but I guess you don't believe that because you don't believe in history, so I guess you don't believe Pilate existed either. I guess you don't believe that the temple existed in Jerusalem. I guess you don't believe that Herod existed. This man don't believe anything. He just believes the Bible. But he can't believe the New Testament because that talks about Herod. I mean, come on, y'all. You got to know your history to understand the Bible, right? It says, and when Pilate, at the suggestion of the principal men amongst us, the Romans, right, and among the Hebrew Israelites, you know what I'm saying, and condemned him to the cross, those that loved him at the first did not forsake him. For he appeared to them alive again the third day, as the divine prophet had foretold these and 10,000 other wonderful things concerning him. And the tribe of Christians, so named from him, named after Jesus Christ, Christos, Mashiach, Christus, are not extinct at this day. Jesus is an established person in history. Now, of course, it don't mean anything to Brother Michael, because he just said, I don't believe anything these heathens tell us, which we know that's not true, because he believes some about history. He just said some slaves were thrown in the boat to the sharks. That ain't the prophecy in Deuteronomy. So where did he get that from? Who told him slaves were thrown over into the ocean in boats? He probably saw it in that movie Roots, which was produced by white people. You follow what I'm saying? So he believed the heathen when it's convenient for his doctrine. But when they say something that disproves his doctrine, oh, now you can't trust these lying heathen. Come on, y'all. That's a contradiction. Either put down all history books all together, or acknowledge them and be honest about what you find. Again, sisters and brothers, I'm not here to debate to this brother whether Jesus Christ was God, or whether the name Jesus comes from Zeus, or whether Esau is the white man, or whether black people or the so-called Negro is really Israel. He's gotten off into all of that, but he has not produced a single shred of evidence to prove that Jesus was made up. He didn't give us the name of the person that made him up. He didn't give us the date they made him up. None of that. Only thing he's doing is using the fact that just because somebody made idols and worship him, that means he didn't actually exist. If that's the case, a lot of figures in history didn't exist. None of the Roman emperors existed because they was all worshipped as gods with idols made to them. The man's argument is completely flawed and unsound, and only an absolute moron would go for this stuff that he's trying to give y'all. That's all I got to say. Let's get to these questions.
Okay, this is my favorite part of the show, the public Q&A, where you, the listening audience, will call in with your questions and your comments by dialing the number 646-716-7320. That's 646-716-7320. This is a 35-minute segment, but usually we go over 35 minutes because, I like to get to the people. That's my favorite part of the show. But, it's 35 minutes part of this debate. For the UK, people that listen in the UK that's emailing me right now, and people overseas, the international listeners, once again, if you're unable to call via phone, use the Skype, and the Skype will definitely guarantee you that you'll get access to the public Q&A, and I can get your questions and your comments. So once again, for those that's overseas and for those that's here in the U.S., if you want to go to Skype, that's definitely another way where you can ask your questions on Debate Talk for you. So let's go to the people. Let's see what they got to say about this debate. Let's go to the first person here. 575-224. You're live on Debate Talk for you. Any questions or comments?
Yes, my name is Ruben. I enjoyed the man that was defending our Lord. I think he had a lot of good information. And just one thing about the graven images and the stones is that the Lord, this is why it's good to know about the New Testament, is that the Lord talks about Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon is where those images come from. And this existed since the days of Nimrod. But you can look into that. And one scripture I would like to read regarding that is that, and it shall be at that day, this is Hosea chapter 2, verse 16, and it shall be at that day, saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Ishi, which means husband, my husband, and thou shalt call me no more Baali, which is Baal. And that's what those images are. It's from Baal worship, Mystery Babylon. I really didn't have any questions. I just had comments, and regarding the whole thing about that, how I can't remember. I think his name is Michael.
Yeah, Michael.
He was saying that our God is one God, that Yahweh, which is just the title, means that he's one God. But it says, God said, what does it say? Let us make man. God said, singular, let us make man in our plural image. Okay, that's why it goes back to John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. You know, it's all about plural and singular and plural. It's about paying attention to the scriptures, because even in the Old Testament it says they shall all be taught of God, which our Messiah Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the Savior of the whole world, actually mentioned in the New Testament as well. And then Isaiah 53 talks about who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed, for he shall grow up before him as a tender plant and as a root out of dry ground. And the Lord is that root. He says in Revelation chapter 22, verse 16, he is the root and the offspring of David. Okay, and that's what the Lord promises to David, that he will bring out of his lineage a Savior to sit on his throne. He never promises David the throne, because like it says, the Lord said to my Lord, sit thou here on my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. Okay, and we know that Jesus is Christ. He has no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire in him. Okay.
All right, brother. Sorry about that, man. Time is up, my brother, but I appreciate your call. Let's go to the special guest. Brother Yahudah, you want to reply to that?
Yeah, he just said that the Most High said, "Let us make man in our image." So it was more than one. But when he was talking to his sons, which is the angels, when he said that, but Isaiah 42, verse 5, he says, "Thus says the Father Yahweh, he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth, and that which comes out of it, he that give breath unto all people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein." See, he never said nothing about us. Verse 6, I, Yahweh, have called thee in righteousness, and will uphold thy hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of people, for a light of the Gentiles. You see what I'm saying? That man is not a light. His light is very dim. But Israel's light is starting to brighten the closer we get to this 400 years. He is not the light. 42 verse 1, it said, "Behold, my servant whom I uphold, my elect, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles." And there he will be talking about Israel bringing forth judgment to the men that had us in captivity, the men that took everything from us and gave us these graven images so that we couldn't serve him, the men that turned his name from from Yahweh, and put Lord and God in the scriptures so that his children couldn't understand and wouldn't know who he was. We are the light. And when our time is up, our light going to shine bright, as the Most High said.
Yeah, let our brother Josh respond. We got a lot of questions here, so let brother Josh want to respond to that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Sal. And I'm going to keep it brief because I can already see what's going on. See, notice how we're getting off the topic of whether Jesus Christ existed or not, and we're getting off into the doctrines and the beliefs concerning Jesus Christ. And I knew that was going to happen because that's what the brother's been doing, and it kind of eggs the audience on to address what he's saying about Jesus Christ and not the topic at hand. So I'm not going to let it spin out of control like that. I'm going to keep people on the topic, and the topic is whether Jesus Christ existed or not. But I will address this. The brothers keep talking about the New Testament as if the New Testament don't condemn idols or idolatry. Let me give y'all two places. First, this is 1 John 5:21. Look what it says. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. Amen. You're not going to tell me that the New Testament is the source of idolatry when it speaks against idolatry. Here's another spot right here. This is 1 Thessalonians 1:9. Look what it says. For they themselves show of us what manner of entering in we had unto you, and how you turned to God from idols to serve the living and the true God. So idolatry did not come from the New Testament. It came from the Roman Catholic Church and Rome in general, fusing pagan worship with true Christianity. And that's where your idols come from. The brother act like the New Testament don't say anything against idolatry. It's in the New Testament as well. That's all I got to say.
All right, and once again, I appreciate all of those people that's still sending me emails right now overseas. I appreciate you guys tuning in to Debate Talk for You. Once again, if you want to call in, use Skype, and I'll definitely bring you directly into the public Q&A. Go to the next person. When I go to you, because, people, you can say your name and where you're from. I want to hear where you guys are from and what's your name and go on to your question or your comment. Let's go to the people. 252-822. Live on Debate Talk for You. Any questions or comments?
Shalom to Brother Sal. This is Brother Raheem from New York. Shalom to Brother Joshua and to Yahudah, Michael. How y'all doing?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing, brother? What's going on?
All right. I'm going good. Basically, Josh is on point. He's saying with the topic, and it seems like, no offense to Michael, that he's going off into the Esau type thing and, the J and all this, and trying to put it on as though Jesus didn't exist. I wanted to ask Michael a question, then I wanted to ask him and read something to him, an outside source other than what Josh gave as Josephus. I want to ask him, what type of Bible translation are you reading, Brother Michael Yahudah?
It's just Michael. I'm just Michael, bro. But I'm reading the regular Old Testament, and they have the New Testament attached to it.
Okay, so because in Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, it says, and he answered and said, I am not but sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and that would be Yeshua. We know him not as Jesus. Do you acknowledge that's him?
Do I acknowledge JC?
No, I'm asking you, do you acknowledge Yeshua, who's talking in that Bible? Because this is English, and the English is basically a translation of the Hebrew, and his name would be in Hebrew, Yeshua. In Aramaic, it would be Isa, and in Arabic, it would be Isa. So I'm asking you, in the Hebrew for Matthew 15:24, do you acknowledge Yeshua, ben Mary?
Well, and Jesus in English was Joshua. Hebrew is Yeshua. English is Joshua, not Jesus.
Okay. No, I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you, do you recognize Yeshua in the Hebrew Bible, which passed Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, and he came for the lost sheep of Israel? That's what I'm asking. I already know the names, and I have knowledge in that. I'm just asking you, do you acknowledge Yeshua?
Yes, Yeshua is mentioned in the book of Zechariah.
I didn't ask you what
he will be the high priest of the Most High, and that it would,
okay.
and it's mentioned in Zechariah chapter 3 that it would be two anointed.
Okay.
I'm sorry, chapter 4. That it was mentioned in chapter 3 that it be in 4 that it would be two anointed standing on both sides of the Most High, and yes, one is Joshua.
Okay, this debate is over. You just proved the point. Jesus exists.
Yeshua, not Jesus, good brother. Not Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus is Jesus. Yeshua is Yeshua. I didn't prove your point. I proved that Yeshua exists in the Old Testament, but Jesus is not Yeshua. Jesus is Jesus. Joshua is Yeshua. That's the English version. Joshua, not Jesus. I ain't proved nothing you said.
All right, let me let Brother Josh jump in because we got a lot of callers here. Go ahead, Brother Josh. You want to reply?
Again, I'm going to keep it quick. I think Raheem is confusing the brother's view. The brother don't believe in the Messiah under no name, the New Testament Messiah. He don't believe in him under the name of Yeshua, Isa, Yehoshua, nothing. He don't believe in the New Testament, period, if I'm understanding him correctly. It ain't the name that he got an issue with, Raheem. He don't believe the New Testament. He don't believe that the person you read about in the New Testament, who they call Christ or whatever name you choose to use, ever walked the earth. That's his position. So I just wanted to clear that up. You go on to the next question because I don't really got any comment to that.
All right. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. Let's get to the people. Let's see what they got to say. State your name, where you're from, and go on to your question or your comment. 513-628. You're live on Debate Talk for you. Any questions or comments?
Hello. Shalom. Brother Michael. Brother Joshua. This is Elam. I'm in Cincinnati. And I just wanted to say, hello?
Yeah, how you doing?
Shalom.
Yeah, how you doing?
Okay, shalom. My name is Elam. And I just wanted to say, Brother Michael, I think you did an excellent job proving your point that JC did not exist. And the scriptures that you showed him did show that, because when he made a reference to Daniel chapter 9, and he asked you, was that he was insinuating that was pertaining to JC, but that was not pertaining to JC or David. It was talking about Cyrus. And if you read that, that's showing you Cyrus was cut off because he was not succeeded by anyone that was related to him, but he was succeeded 200 years later by another king named Darius or Darius. But I do believe that when a person has so much pride, they cannot establish their point. They start attacking the messenger because they can't attack the message. And it's really futile for you to cling on to this belief that JC was actually a person. If he was a person, he was only a person, just a regular person that they deified after the fact. Because nowhere in the Old Testament is he ever mentioned by the mouth of Yahweh. Never. He never said that it would be any son that would come along of any significance other than the son that he referenced in Exodus 4 about Israel being his son. So therefore, I really don't see why you feel he did not prove that JC did not exist. He did not exist, other than the fact that he was just a person born and died just like any other person who was born and died in the year 2 or 0 or 1 or whatever year he was born in. But I really did enjoy it, but again, that point was proven, and I think it was beautiful, the scriptures that he showed you. And, if you can't see it at this time, he's right. Your eyes have been closed. But it's not, just your eyes, but all the other people who believe in Christianity and who believe that JC existed for any purpose other than the one that they put him in the book to exist. And that is to confuse our people and to make us think that we're not accountable for our sins, that somebody else is going to be accountable. That is a very wicked thought.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, sister. Time is up, brother. But I'm going to let our brother Josh reply. You want to reply, brother Josh? Go ahead.
You better believe I do. First of all, I don't know what debate that sister was listening to, but to establish if somebody existed in history, I don't know. I thought you had to go into history. I don't know why these people are calling in all of a sudden acting like what you use to establish a figure in history no longer applies when you got your religion involved. First of all, she said that the Messiah in Daniel chapter 9 is talking about Cyrus. I'm sorry, it says in verse 25 in Daniel chapter 9 Know therefore and understand from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build the Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. That right there, last time I checked, how much is that? That's 69. Now we're going to do a little multiplication. That's 69 times 7. What is that? 483 years. Then it says, verse 26, and after 62 weeks, in that 69th week, you know what I'm saying? After that 69th week, shall Messiah be cut off. Sister, are you telling me that Cyrus died 483 years after Daniel got there? No, he didn't, sister. Cyrus did not die 483 years later. So the prophecy is telling you when the Messiah would die. Yes, he was known as anointed. I don't deny that. Second of all, I'm showing through history that Jesus was wrote about outside of the belief of Christians, meaning he wasn't something that the Christians just fabricated, but he was an actual man that lived. The only thing Michael is doing is attacking the doctrine of Jesus. Even the sister seems to have doubts. Look what she said. If he did exist, he was just a man. It shouldn't be any if with you, sister. You should know that he proved for a fact that he didn't exist. So by the fact that you said if he did, let us know that there's still doubt on your behalf. Jesus existed because of the way he's established in history, just like we believe other people existed because of the way they're established in history. And to deny that Jesus existed would be like denying that Julius Caesar or Alexander the Great existed, which, by the way, the brother said he didn't know anything about. That's all I got to say to that.
All right, Brother Michael, you can reply, then we got to move on to the next question. You can reply, though. Go ahead.
I mean, you make it seem like I have to know about Alexander the Great to be someone special, man. That man was nothing of righteousness, bro. He was an he had our people in captivity, brother. He was a crook. That was a crooked man, man. He was a heathen. That's what they were placed here to do, was sin, corruption, to rule by the sword, by death, false doctrine. All them. You said that they didn't believe in idolatry. Well, right at Matthew's, where we was just at, where I showed you, 10 and 34, it says that, check this. And this is verse 37, he that loves the father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loves the son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that take not his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He that finds his life shall lose it, and he that loses his life for my sake shall find it. He just told the people, if they don't grab the cross and follow after him, they're not worthy of him. And what did Yahweh say? You're going to worship gods, wood and stone. And that's that wooden cross that he's talking about. You better take this cross if you want to follow after me, because if you don't do this idolatry, then you're not worthy of following me. That's what he just stated. And then before that, he told us man's foes would be they of his own household. This is the sword that this man came to bring. And as I stated before, that was Esau's blessing of the earth while he came to rule, was to rule by the sword. That was his blessing. And that's why I said he wrapped all his evil and wicked up in JC and made it seem as JC was saying this. But
yeah, I'm sorry about that, brother. I'm going to let you respond some more. We've got a whole lot of questions here, so let's get to the people. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. I'm going to try to get to as much people as possible. Once again, if you have any questions, just press number 1, and I'll add you to the conversation. And for those people that already asked the question, do me a favor. Just press number 1 one more time, and that'll take you off the queue. So if you already asked the question, just press 1 again, and that'll take you off the switchboard. Let's go to the people. Let's see. 315-863. You're live on Debate Talk for you.
Hello?
Yeah, you're live on Debate Talk for you.
Oh, what's up? This is Sound Mind, a.k.a. the Judah Juggernaut from the Route of Instruction, Syracuse 315. Shout out to all my brothers from the Route of Instruction. But I just wanted to say that last caller, the lady, she was, oh, man, that lady was off her rocker for even agreeing with this dude. But anyways, Josh, can you please repeat your historical sources for me? Because I was trying to, follow and copy them down, but you was kind of going mad fast and you wasn't giving the page numbers or nothing. I was wondering if you could start with Pliny the Younger. I got the Josephus and Cornelius Tacitus, but I think it's Pliny the Younger, and then from there on we went to the Babylonian Talmud, and then there was one more after that.
Pliny the Younger is in a book called Letters, and it's 10.96 to 97.
10.96 to 97. All right, and the Babylonian Talmud, what page is that?
It's not a page. It's in they have it in sections. It's in Sanhedrin 43A.
Sanhedrin 43A. And there was no more after that?
There's no number. That's just how you find it. It's called the Babylonian Talmud, Sanhedrin 43A.
I know. Okay. There were sources after that.
Yes. It's the new complete works of Josephus again. Antiquities 18.3.3 and paragraph 63.
All right.
And while I'm at it, I wanted to point out, because the brother keeps talking about Jesus said he sent the sword and the man gonna be against this. Man's foes gonna be there of his own household. Once again, the brother is proving that he's ignorant of the Old Testament. When Jesus said he came to send the sword, he acting as the messenger of the Father was just fulfilling prophecy in Deuteronomy 28 and in the book of Micah. Allow me to read from both of these excerpts. This is Deuteronomy 28, and this is verse 56. The curses that he loves to read, but I guess this one went over his head. And y'all tell me, does this sound like what Jesus said in Matthew 10? Look what it says. The tender and delicate woman among you, which was not adventured to set her toe or her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom. Question, sisters and brothers. If you are married and your wife stays in your household and she forgets you, ain't that a foe of your household? Yes. You don't understand that Jesus was just talking about the prophecy in Deuteronomy 28. Let me show you another one. It said of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter, and towards her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and towards her children which she shall bear. But she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thy enemy shall distress thee in thy gate. That happened in 70 A.D., which is what Jesus was getting at. Here's another reference to it. Same thing. But for some reason, when the brother reads it in the New Testament, it's made up. Jesus came to bring a sword. See, that's Esau. Well, I guess this is Esau right here in Deuteronomy 28, and I guess this is Esau in Micah chapter 7. This is Micah chapter 7, verse 5. Trust ye not in a friend. Put ye not confidence in the guide. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lies in thy bosom. In other words, don't tell any of your business to the woman that lies with you. Why? Because evil times are coming. Look what he's saying. For the son dishonoreth the father, the daughter rises up against her mother, the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own house. Now, come on, sisters and brothers, is that not the same thing, almost verbatim, we read in Matthew 10 and 21? Yes, it is. Only thing Jesus was doing was reiterating what was already written in Deuteronomy 28 and Micah. He was not operating under Esau. That just proves this brother don't even know his own Old Testament. That's all that proves to me. But he can respond.
All right, again, Michael, you can respond, brother.
Yes, I'm glad he went to that because he just made my point for me. When he went to Deuteronomy and then when he just came here to Micah, because I just already had my scripture right to Micah to show that this was a prophecy of what was going to happen to our people. And that Jesus said that I come not to bring the peace, but all those curses that the Most High said he was going to do, that's what I came to do. That's why JC repeated what Micah said right here. For the son dishonors the father, and the daughter raised up against her mother. the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and man's enemies are the men of his own house. Praise God. That was the curse that the Most High said he was going to send to us. And when I showed you that, Matthew chapter 10, 34, that JC, just like you said, he reiterated it because he said, I ain't come to bring peace. Those curses y'all said that was going to happen, that's what I come to do. And that's why it's happening. Praise Yah, because JC did it. Now, let's look at Malachi real fast, chapter 4.
I agree. JC did it. I agree.
Now, let's see who's going to set this stuff straight. And it ain't the Muhammad. Muhammad don't exist. It ain't no Elijah Muhammad. Elijah came from Israel. Prophet Elijah, he comes from us, bloodline. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. And he shall turn the hearts of the father to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So he's going to send Elijah to come fix what JC was prophesied to send to mess up, to bring the sword on. Because he said, I come to set man at variance, to set the father against the son, and the mother against the daughter, and the mother-in-law against the daughter-in-law, and the father-in-law against the son-in-law. And every man's foe shall be of he and his whole household. He set all them together. Now Elijah has to come and put the children back to the fathers and the fathers back to the children, or y'all going to come smite the earth. Now Elijah has to come fix what JC calls confusion in. Praise Yah. Thank you for those scriptures, good brother.
All right, once again, we're going to the people. This is the public Q&A. We're here to listen to audience for calling with your questions, your comments. There's so many questions here right now, so we'll try to get to as much people as possible. And I know we're going to go over the 35-minute mark, so let's keep pressing the number one. The number is 646-716-7320. I'm going to get to as much people as possible. Remember, it's going to be a 3-minute time limit for each person that I go to, so say your name, where you're from, and go right into your question and your comment. So let's go to the next person here. 631-418. You're live on Debate Talk for you. 631-418.
Shabbat Shalom. I don't really have too much to say. I would just encourage the brother Michael to continue to study. He's one of the only brothers I've heard admit that he was wrong about certain things. That should encourage him to continue to study with an open mind, try to dig past maybe what he's been taught, and just try to really get an understanding of what the scriptures are saying. He might see that what the New Testament says does not conflict with the Old Testament. Nothing about Yahushua conflicts or trumps what Yah has established. It all coincides. So I would just encourage that brother to continue to study with an open mind. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, brother. Let's go to the next person, 513-600. You're live on Debate Talk for you, 513-600. Any questions or comments?
Shalom, shalom.
Hey, shalom, brother.
Hey, this is Brother Roy, Yahudah Ben Israel, out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I got a question for the brother. What's the brother name?
Brother Michael or Brother Josh?
Josh. Okay, you established that JC existed, okay. Now establish the 4 different accounts of his death, because they're all different. Now if it's a fact that he died, it should only be one account. It should be 4 different accounts. Now you know the 4 different accounts. If not, we'll discuss them, but let's just go with the 4 different accounts of his death, sir.
I don't disagree with that, because there are 4 different accounts, because it's by 4 different witnesses. Just like if you and I witnessed a car accident, just you and I, 2 people, we're not going to have the exact same account. You're going to include some stuff that I didn't and vice versa. But at the same time,
great, good. Okay, good point.
Can I finish?
Good point. So, okay, tell me this, though.
Can I finish?
No, I don't want you to finish.
Let me finish.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. I'm going to let you get the floor one at a time.
Yeah, this ain't double Dutch, bro. Don't try to wait for an opening or a pause and me talking and try to jump in and take over. This ain't double Dutch, bro. What I'm saying is that what I just said, it was 4 different accounts because it's by 4 different witnesses, right? But here's my point. I am not here to deal with that. You just said I established that Jesus Christ existed. That's all I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to let anybody come on this show. You can ask Michael about that if you want to, but I'm not going to let anybody come on this show and try to divert the audience attention from that. The title of this debate is, did Jesus Christ exist? Now, if you want to debate me on that or talk about that on another show, feel free, but I'm not going to deal with all this other stuff. I'm not going to let anybody camouflage what this debate is really about. And you already said I established that. So praise God if you saw that. But let's leave all that other stuff for another time. I just want to deal with one thing at a time. That's what I want to deal with.
All right.
Certificate, sir?
Go ahead, 513. Go ahead.
If you have a birth certificate, don't you have a death certificate, sir? And if that's the case, if you have 4 different accounts, why would one person say there was a great...
Oh, easy, yo, you yelling, brother. Easy, brother.
I
hear you. Yeah.
That sounds built up.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Yeah. Sounds better now.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
you're kind of yelling. It's real loud. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. My fault. If there was a great earthquake, why did one person see the great earthquake? Why everybody else didn't see the great earthquake, sir?
Like I said, you already established that I proved from history that Jesus Christ existed. I'm not here to get sidetracked in the other stuff. That's the problem with the talk for you. That's the problem with the talk for you.
That's not sidetracked, sir.
I'm not here to talk about that, brother. You already gave me the debate. You already said I proved that he existed in history. I'm not here to debate the alleged contradictions of the gospel because there are alleged contradictions all over the Bible, New and Old Testament. So I'm not going to play that game unless that's the topic of the debate. All I'm here to do is to prove that Jesus existed in history, which you already said I established that. So if you want to talk about something else, save it for another conversation because I don't want to deal with it. I'm not going to let anybody get off the topic. I'm not going to let that happen. Not with me. Now, if you want to talk to Michael about that, he's right there.
Brother Mike, you can respond, brother. Go ahead.
Well, this guy seemed not to realize that people asking these questions and making these statements saying like, okay, well, you saying that he existed, right? Then they following up with a question because they saying like, okay, well, you saying this. They're not saying that they're not actually agreeing. They just making a statement that you're saying this and you're saying, yeah, so they come hitting you with a follow-up question like, well, if he existed, then how did he die 4 times? And my answer to that, you don't want to answer because if you answer that, then you going to know that he didn't exist because Judgment Day is for one time. And the Most High haven't never returned to waking up one man 4 times over and over again on different accounts. Now, in the Old Testament, all the prophets speak of the same thing concerning the Most High. That's why he said, turn to the book of the prophets, and none of them shall fail you, because they all speak of the same thing. They all tell you, serve Yah, do his laws, his commandments, and you will get everlasting life. That's what they tell you.
Yeah, Brother Josh.
So he don't want to establish that because he knows then JC don't exist. Judgment Day haven't came yet, so how does he get to keep coming alive for it? Is he a kitty cat? He don't exist.
Well, let me respond to that. First of all, nobody is avoiding anything because I can call in on the debate and bring forth a lot of alleged contradictions in the Old Testament as well that I'm pretty sure the caller won't be able to have an answer for. But if I'm listening to a debate on whether David in the Old Testament existed, y'all can go online right now, 101, 200 contradictions in the Bible, Old and New Testament, right? Some of them you can answer, some of them you can't. But I'm pretty sure this caller, if he believes in the Old Testament, is not going to stop believing the Bible because somebody hit him with an alleged contradiction in the Old Testament that he cannot answer. Neither is somebody who believes both of the books are going to do the same thing. What I'm trying to get the audience to understand is, because that's what the enemy tries to do. The enemy tries to get you off the topic. The brother said, okay, you established in history that Jesus existed. You established that, but what about this? I'm not here to play the scholar because that's what these guys want to do. They want to play Stump the Scholar. Let's see if we can ask him this, and he won't be able to answer that. I have an answer for this stuff, but I am not going to let anybody call in and try to divert attention from the topic at hand. If you got a question that...
Yeah, sorry about that, Brother Josh. Just letting the people know, actually the 35-minute mark just passed, but I'm going to give you guys more time to call in. Well, I see there's more questions in the queue, so if there's any more questions, the number is 646-716-7320. We have a lot more time, so all you got to do is press the number 1. I'm going to get to as much people as possible, so hold on for 1 second. 513-429, you're live on Debate Talk View. Any questions or comments?
Oh, shalom.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
All right. Shalom. This is Ezrael, Cincinnati. Praise Yah. Say shalom to all your guests and shalom to you two hosts. And I have one question for the brother, Josh. If Christ existed, I got in the debate kind of late, and when I got in, the brother Josh was reading out of Daniel, the book of Daniel. And the book of Daniel is written by Daniel. And Moses, all the prophets, and even Moses, who wasn't a prophet, but Moses had written the book too, written as Torah. Christ has no writing. He went to Matthew, and he said, look, it say this in Malachi and in Matthew. Yeah, they took it out of there and said Christ said it. Where is Christ's writing? Christ has no writing. And Romans chapter 10, that's the brother Josh, that's you the Israelite who's making your own God. That's what they did. They made their own God, not according to the scriptures or to the knowledge of Yah. That's where this Christ come in at. Look, we can just say this. It ain't no man. They just saying it. That's why they wrote it in red and said this is what he said. This is not what he wrote. He didn't write anything. That's why all the stories are different of what he is saying, because them just men. And you know who the author of the New Testament is Saul, who hated David, who yes, and you were talking about Alexander the Great when Saul changed his name to Paul when Alexander the Great ruled Greece. Yes, and he is the author of the New Testament. Paul.
Wow.
Saul with the Saul. Thank you, my brother. That's all. Show me his writings. Thank you.
I appreciate your call, brother. Brother Josh, you can reply.
Okay, a lot of things. First of all, I find it very amusing that the brother comes in and say he came in late in the debate, and the last thing he heard me reading was Daniel, which means he didn't hear any of the proof that I brought. A brother who's really seeking truth and not conflict would say, brother, where did you go to prove that Jesus existed? He didn't ask for that. Only thing he wants to do is tear down. Then y'all all heard him say that Saul. Now, let me show you how all distorted this brother is. This brother said Saul, who hated David, wrote the New Testament, who lived during the time of Alexander the Great. This dude is all jumbled up. It's like he took a puzzle, took it apart, shook it up, and just threw it back on the floor. First of all, Alexander the Great lived during the Greek Empire. Neither Saul from the Old Testament time or Saul, who was later called Paul, lived during that time. Second of all, you're confusing Saul, who hated David, with Saul, later called Paul. So somebody who's that jumbled up and messed up, who got a question about something in the Bible, you need to go back and just do some crazy research, because you just all messed up, bro. And that's all I'm going to say today. I'm not even going to address that.
All right, Brother Mike, you can reply, brother. Go ahead.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
You ain't go by everything he said. He said, where's JC's writing at? That's what I want to say. And I'm gonna confirm something. I'm gonna confirm something what the good brother said. It don't matter what chapter you go to. Before you see that red writing, which is only quotes, it's gonna go in. It's like chapter 9, just Luke chapter 9, just anything. Then he called 12 disciples together and gave them power and authority over all devils and to cure diseases. And he sent them to preach the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. And he said to them, take nothing for your journey. See, this ain't Jesus talking. He said, and he said to them, and then start writing in red to make it saying this is Jesus that wrote this. But Jesus never said, I said anything. I could go on and on forever with this quote in chapter 10, same Luke. After these things, the Lord appointed other 70 also and sent them 2 and 2 before his face, and into every city and place whether he himself would come. Therefore said he to them. Then, instead of putting quotation marks, they just put it in red. So this is JC. JC never even spoke in the New Testament.
They
That's
had
how I
no
know he
quotation
don't
marks in
exist.
the Greek.
Because
they had no quotation marks in the Greek. Did you know that? There were no quotation marks in the Greek language. So how are you going to put quotations there?
So why didn't it just continue in black? Why did he make this statement and then he said unto them, then he started writing in red saying this is what JC said. Because JC never said it.
They didn't do that. Jesus didn't do that to people. You got Bibles with Old Testaments where every time the Most High.
I know Jesus didn't do that. My point is he don't exist. Men did that.
Hold on. Mike, let him reply, and then I'm going to let you go. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I'm saying this dude actually saying that because it's written in red. Bruh, the original text did not have the Messiah's writings in red. That's just something that people do in the Bible for the convenience of the reader to let you know easily when you thumb it through your Bible, you can know when the Messiah is talking. They got Old Testament Bibles printed like that, bro. I know a brother who used to have one where every time the Most High was talking, they printed his writings in red. And you can read it in the beginning. It says, words of God and Jesus printed in red writing. So what are you talking? You actually thought that was part of something that the ancients did? Or people wrote the New Testament? Are you kidding me? Really?
No, my point is this, bro, that when you see verse 1 in chapter 10, it's clear that this is not JC speaking. This is somebody speaking saying what JC said. Then when it comes down to the quote of JC, then they start writing in the red. But JC never professed this, none of this out of his mouth in the New Testament because he don't exist. That's why all these writings are of Paul, and then when they get to the red, you're going to see that it's saying that the red is supposed to be the blood of JC. So for you to...
Yeah, sorry about that, brother. We got a whole lot of questions, so I got to get to the people. There's a lot of people here that got questions. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. I know you guys are enjoying this debate, so let's go to the people. Let's see what you got to say. 478-213. You're live on Debate Talk for you. Any questions or comments?
Shabbat Shalom. I'm so glad I got to get on. This is Antoine from Absolute Bible Truth. Shabbat Shalom to Brother Josh, Brother Michael, you, Sal, and everybody listening. Listening to this debate tonight, I went through a lot of emotions. A lot of times I was happy, and then I was frustrated, and the callers who are calling in now and the Brother Michael, they cannot stay on topic. The topic of the debate is, did Jesus Christ exist? As a person, whether or not you believed in him, whether or not you believed in what he did, whether or not you believe what was written about him, if you believe, if you're going to say that a man wrote this, a man did this, a man did that, then you have to throw out every single thing that's ever written, including your own Bible. Because how can you sit there and say, nobody wrote about, nobody believed in Jesus, or nobody Israelitish, said Jesus didn't have his own writings, so I can't really get with that, or so and so didn't have his own writings. I can't get with that. That absolutely makes no sense at all. But my whole thing I was hearing a lot tonight was that Brother Michael kept saying that Jesus, because he had idols made unto him, was one of the reasons why he couldn't get down with believing in him. Now, okay, Jesus had idols, and nobody disagrees with that. People make crosses, they have the paintings, all this stuff, and I understand where he's coming from with that. But here's my thing with And here's my first question to Michael real quick. Would you stop believing in the Most High if people made idols to them, to the Most High? Would you say he didn't exist?
Well, people can't make an idol to the Most High because they never saw what he looked like. And the thing about Jesus is, people, no one's seen him. No one in today's time know what he looks like to make an engraven image. People have saw the Most High, but no one in our generations have saw the Most High.
Good. I'm glad you brought that up. So here's my question to you. In Exodus, would you read in Exodus chapter 32, the people, now they just got led up out of the land of Egypt, and the Most High already warned them back in Exodus chapter 23 not to be worshiping idols, not be making nothing but no idols. The Most High just got them out of the land of Egypt. The first thing Israel did was make a Exodus 23 when he forbade them for idol worship. That's Exodus 23. But in Exodus 32, they came right out there, and what's the first thing they did? They took out their golden earrings, and then it's Exodus 32 and 5, 4 and 5.
Exodus. I'm sorry. Yeah, Exodus. Okay.
Exodus chapter 32 verse 4. And he received them at their hand and fashioned it with graven tools after he had made a molten calf, and they said, "These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt." Now we know the Most High is the one who did this. Now you go to verse 5, it says, "And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast to the Lord." And that's a capital L. They said tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. So they made an idol right then and there for the Lord. So would you stop believing in the Most High just because you see that they made an idol towards it? There's something, I mean, in the book of Ecclesiastes, it tells, in Ecclesiastes, it said there's no new thing under the sun. That's the whole context of the whole entire book. Ain't no new thing under the sun. They were doing this back then. They're still doing it today when it comes to Jesus Christ. So would you stop believing in the Most High just because they made an idol of him?
I would never stop believing in Yah for no reason at all. And this right here, you said they made an image of a calf. Right. I mean, we know a calf can't put can't put breath in nobody, you know what I'm saying? They let you know they fasten it with their hands. And just like you said, good brother, we still doing that today. And that's all they did with JC is come up with an image of Christos, what's his name, Christos, and gave him a name with Jesus, and just created an image. All they did was create a false image of a man, and put their whole history into this man.
I don't know about the second part, but I agree that they made a false.
Why did they have to use Christos' image of JC? Why did they have to use Christos' image of JC and then calling Jesus? So is those the same two people?
Am I on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
am I on? No. Yes, people did, and I say I agree that people are still doing the same thing today with Jesus Christ. However, that doesn't mean that he did not exist, and doesn't take away from who he actually was. You know what I'm saying? People make a cross to represent Jesus. They make a fish. They have a image of people living in the Renaissance era that look like or that pose as an image for Jesus Christ. That, you know what I'm saying, they made those things, and they still had that stuff going on today. But we could read in the very Old Testament that you believe in that the children of Israel did the same exact thing to the person you believe is the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? But you just said that you're not going to stop believing in the Most High God. So how in the world can you say that just because they made images about Jesus that we shouldn't believe in? We shouldn't believe in them when there's no new thing under the sun, which I hope you believe. You know what I'm saying? It's been going on since the beginning. And just to clarify on the name, the whole name thing, the name Jesus is actually a transliteration of a transliteration of a transliteration. You said earlier that the Hebrew name, if you translate it from Hebrew to English, is Joshua, and you're absolutely correct. But the name wasn't translated straight from Hebrew to English because English didn't exist back then. You had English, you had to go from the English to the Greek to the Latin and blah and so on forth, and then from that, that's how we got from. I believe it's in 1 somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It went from the Aramaic to the Greek to the Latin, then to the English, not from straight Hebrew to English. You know what I'm saying? Because you can have it changes when you go from another language to another language to another language. That's
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, brother. Brother Josh, you can go ahead, man. You can reply. Go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And, I ain't really got that much to say. My whole point is, and I always like to draw the attention of the audience back to the point at hand. The only thing I've been getting in opposition tonight is people trying to attack the doctrine or what people believe about Christ. They're trying to attack the validity of the Gospels themselves. And none of that has anything to do with whether the man actually existed or not. Just because somebody deified you and worship you does not mean you did not actually walk the earth. I can't believe that I got to explain this to grown men and women who don't understand that, who don't seem to be able to comprehend that. You can tell that very ignorant people are calling in, like the guy saying Saul, who wrote the New Testament, the same Saul that couldn't stand David. I mean, this guy ain't picked up a Bible a day in his life if he's talking like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, I can't believe that people are trying to sell you the ideal that just because somebody is worship or somebody made a statue glorifying another individual, that means that individual did not exist. Don't let these people divert you away from the topic at hand. We're trying to establish that Jesus Christ existed in history by going through the same means of how we established if other figures existed in history. And I don't understand why people can't get away from their prejudices and their indoctrinations to just dwell on that. I'm not trying to get you to believe in Jesus. I'm not trying to get you to believe he was God or anything. I'm just trying to get people to see that he's an established figure in history just like everybody else, which means that he actually lived and existed, just like Julius Caesar or Alexander the Great. That's why I keep bringing up Alexander the Great, because a lot of people believe he existed. Even the brother, Micah, he contradicted himself. He said he had our people in captivity. How would he know that? Because he read that in history. That's how he knew. The Bible don't mention Alexander the Great. So how did he know that Alexander the Great had our people in history? Because the brother in captivity, because the brother picked up a history book and read it. That's all I got to say.
All right. Once again, there's a lot of people out here with questions, so let's go to the people, see what they got to say. 615-957. You're live on Debate Talk for you. Any questions or comments?
Hi, my name is Yahudah Israel. I'm calling from Nashville, Tennessee. I wanted to just, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I just wanted to read Isaiah 43, starting with with verse 10. Ye are my witnesses, said the Most High, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me there was no power formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am the Most High, and besides me there is no Savior. And my question is this. Is JC, I haven't read the New Testament in quite some while. It's quite a while. And I want to know, is JC the son of the Most High, or is he considered the Most High in flesh? And how was JC conceived? And if the Most High condemned the fallen angels that took on earthly wives and made babies with them, why would he condone the Holy Spirit to impregnate Mary? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. So that's my question. How was JC conceived? Like the fallen angels conceived these giants?
Okay. I guess that's aimed at me. Let me ask you a question. So, the two questions for you. Number one, have you been listening to this entire debate?
Yes, I have. Number two, what is the title of this debate? It's about JC. Was he legitimate? Is he a myth or was he real?
Okay, so if you look at all the questions that you asked, and you say you've been listening to this entire debate, none of them have anything to do with whether he actually existed or not. Like, for instance, do you believe?
Okay,
let me finish.
Okay.
Do you believe that the Prophet Muhammad existed? Do you believe he existed?
You're asking me a question
without even
wait, hold up. Without even answering mine. In order to establish something, I can't ask a question, the same question. The only question you want to hear is, did he exist?
No, that's not what I want to hear. That's what I want y'all to deal with. I don't want to hear any questions about. What I'm saying, sister, is this is what y'all keep doing.
These questions are related to whether or not he existed.
No, that's related to what people believe about him.
You're telling me.
Let me finish.
No, I'm
These
not
questions are related to what people believe about him. How he was conceived. That is a belief. Was he the Son of God? That is a belief. Was he the Messiah? That is a belief. That has nothing to do with whether the man walked the earth or not. If somebody called in right now and asked me, do I believe that the Prophet Muhammad of Islam existed? I would say yes. He's a well-established figure in history. There are outside references outside of Islam that prove that the man did exist. Now, they ask me, do I believe that Muhammad was a true prophet? I would say no. Notice how I don't have to dismiss the existence of Muhammad to dismiss what he taught or what people said about him. But you people seem incapable of breaking the two apart. You act like that in order for, if you believe or admit that it's possible that Jesus walked the earth, then you have to accept everything that is said about him. And y'all trying to put that out like that's what I'm trying to say. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to establish to the audience, did a man known as Jesus Christ or Yeshua HaMashiach, did he actually exist? In another topic, we can deal with, was he born of a virgin? Was he the Messiah? We can deal with all that then, but y'all keep trying to get away from that and trying to make what people believe about him synonymous with whether he existed or not. And then y'all deny the doctrines of Jesus and therefore deny the very existence of him. And I'm not going to let people call in and try to distort the two topics and combine them together. That's all I'm trying to do. No disrespect, but that's all I'm trying to do.
All right, Brother Michael.
Again, the only way we got knowledge of JC, mainly the main source, was through New Testament and the doctrines, the false doctrines of the New Testament. So you have to attack the doctrine so you can attack the deity. That's what the whole doctrine is based around, is the deity. So the questions is based to attack the deity in its sole existence. That's what the questions are for. But he know that. He want to try to wordplay, we just talking about that he exists. Well, only way you going to find it, you ain't going to find it through nothing Hebrew that JC existed. You only going to find it through the Roman Catholics. Or, not just the Roman Catholics, through the Roman Catholics, through the Ishmaelites and Esau, because these are the three people that got their hand in our captivity. You see, that's why our people think we're Muslims. That's why we think we Rastafarians and all these other people that we're not, because these are the people that's putting these false gods and giving it to us so they could keep their rulership and their dominion over us. So we have to attack the deities to prove to you that the Most High sent us here to this land where men was going to give us their idols, and none of them was going to be the truth. An idol doesn't exist. It doesn't have breath. And it can't save, it can't heal, it can't do nothing for nobody or to no one. It's just there. So we have to attack the doctrine to show you that this is all a lie. He don't exist. He was made up. And I keep showing you and telling you that Esau made this man up because of the birthright. Everything that is said about JC and his glory pertains to the birthright, because everything that's said about him is going to actually happen to Israel. But Esau took that, diverted it into JC, and to uplift them and their people up over us. That's why the Most High hate him and said he's going to destroy him in the book of Obadiah and in other books as well, because he led this captivity. He's the leader of.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Mike. I'm going to let you finish up, but just to let the people know that's online at www.blogtalkradio.com. We're about to go off the air in the next 11 minutes. So if you want to catch the final statements and to hear the rest of the show, you're going to have to call in by dialing the number 646-716-7320 to catch the rest of the show, or you can wait till the show is archived and, hear the rest of the show later on. Once again, if you want to catch the final statements, you have to call in right now. The number is 646-716-7320, or before we get off the air, online at Debate Talk for You Radio. All right, so once again, I got to go to the people. We got some more questions. I'm going to take maybe 2 or 3 more before we go to the final statements. So let's go to the people. Let's see what they got to say. 201-667. You're live on Debate Talk for You. Any questions or comments?
Hey, this is Brother Garfield, a.k.a. Gary. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, what's going on, brother?
All right. I'm going to stick to the point for Brother Josh's sake before he has a heart attack screaming at folks. But I just catch the debate at 10, like around 10:20. I figure I know what he's talking about. I know what he did. He probably pointed out Tacitus, Suetonius, Pliny the Younger, Josephus Flavius. He probably said the Talmud. All right. I'll say this. He's wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. Nobody that he said is evidence of Jesus was an eyewitness to him. And I'm going to break it down. He mentioned Pliny the Younger. I'll say, okay, I'll mention Pliny the Elder. What did Pliny the Elder say about Jesus? All right? And I'll say this. What did Justin from Tiberias say about Jesus? He lived in the same neighborhood Jesus lived in. What did he say? And he was alive when Jesus supposedly was alive. What about, there's another guy. What is his name? Yeah, Pliny the Elder, Justin Tiberius. They have about 20 different historians during that time period when Jesus supposedly walked on the earth. And not one of them wrote one word about a Jesus. Pliny the Elder is one of the most, his writings is used probably more by anybody else as far as the Essenes. Philo from Alexandria is one of the most respected historians in the history of that period. Nothing. They talk about the Essenes, you go to Philo's writing, you go to Josephus' writings, you go to Pliny the Elder writings. Now, the 5 folks, the main folks that he possibly mentioned, the only serious one out of all of them that's very troubling for somebody that said Jesus don't exist is Tacitus. And I'm going to tell you the problem with Tacitus. In the oldest codex that you have available to man right now is the Codex Aleph, A-L-E-P-H, also called the Codex Sinaiticus or whatever they want to pronounce it. In that codex, listen to me carefully right now before you respond, Josh. The word Christian, a lot of people don't know this. The word Christian was never in the Bible. The 3 mentions of Christian is actually Christianoi, which is really Christians, for all 3 references. And if you want proof, go to the Codex Sinaiticus website and punch in the verses that Christians like to quote. Say, okay, Paul said at Antioch, or whenever the guy said, oh, I was about to become a Christian. Look at the verses and look at the Greek in it and click on it. It's going to be in blue. And you're going to see the corrected version and the original version. The original version in Greek spells Christianoi, which is Christians. Now, why I mentioned that is because Tacitus says Christians. He doesn't say Christian. And then in the 10th or 11th century, They made a change from the E to an I. And that's...
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Brother Garfield. 3 minutes is up. We've got to let Brother Josh respond. We've got to move on. But Brother Josh, you can reply. Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, if y'all noticed, the first thing the brother calls in and says is that he's wrong. And he mentioned some of the sources I went to. He even said Josephus. He mentioned Philo. First of all, let me give y'all a little history about the Messiah. The Messiah, Jesus Christ, was not very well known during the time he walked the earth. Jesus did not become popular until many years after Christianity spread. So to expect somebody to write about him during the time that he actually walked the earth shows ignorance on your part about what the Messiah was doing and how popular he was during that time. You can read in the New Testament itself that Jesus was trying to keep a low profile. When he healed people, he would tell people, don't even tell people I healed you. He kept a low profile. Jesus was crucified as a common criminal. Nobody outside of his small circle at the time considered him to be anyone great. That's why they didn't make a big deal about him. But you go to Josephus, he makes a bigger deal about John the Baptist than he does about Jesus Christ. You know why? Because John the Baptist was a very popular prophet in Israel in the first century. Also, he says Tacitus. He's playing on the word Christian. They changed it to an I. It ain't got nothing to do with what the text says. The text says that this man was writing about a group of people called Christians. Josephus also wrote about Jesus having a brother named James. Josephus was not a Christian. You can't just come on Debate Talk for You and be like, he's wrong. And then you name the sources, but you don't prove why the sources are wrong. If the best you can come up with is an alternative spelling for the word Christian when there are alternative spellings even in the King James Bible, Old and New Testament, of the same name, then that's beautiful. You and I, save it for our debate, bro. We'll deal with this stuff when we debate. Don't try to come in and try to throw it out there. Now, me and you, we going to have our time. You're going to be in the same lines then that this brother in. So you just wait on that. I can't wait.
All right, we got like 4 minutes left on the air via internet. So for those of you that's listening, www.blogtalkradio.com, you can call in now to hear the rest of the show and the final statements by dialing the number 646-716-7320. I'm going to take two more questions. There's two more questions, and then we're going to go into the final statements. All right, so let's go to the people. Let's see. 502-650. You're live on Debate Talk for You. Any questions or comments?
Hey, yes.
Okay. How you doing?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing? Yeah.
Oh, okay. How y'all doing? Shabbat shalom. This is Alicia from Louisville, Kentucky. I was just, Brother Josh, he just said something about a different spelling, and I feel what he's saying, and I feel what Brother Michael, is that his name?
Yeah. Yep.
What he was saying on both ends, and this is for Brother Michael. Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. Therefore, thy Yahweh himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. That's in the Old Testament. The New Testament, Matthew chapter 1, verse 23. Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is, God is with us, or Yah is with us, Yahshua HaMashiach, Yah salvation. So, I mean, to say that he doesn't exist, we got to think of it. Yeah, Esau put this book here and, made all these mistranslations and all that. Yeah, that is idolatry, the cross and everything, but to say that he, how does he prove that he didn't exist is what I want to know. And the image of Jesus Christ, as we know, has brown hair, blue eyes. If you read in Daniel, which is, or Revelation, New Testament, it says that Yahshua had locks or hair of wool that was white and eyes of flame. So, I mean, when we read the King James, the Old and the New, we do have to have a certain discernment, of our understandings and everything. And, he's somebody made a mention to Jesus didn't have any writings in the New Testament, but Ruth didn't either, which was in the Old Testament, and she also had a book. So I would just like for him to address that, Brother Michael, please. Thank you.
Yeah, if my name was just throwing out a name. If I said my name was Funny, but I spelled it Phunny, right? And later on down in history, somebody else their name is Funny, and they spell it Funny. Could that be the same person?
Well, we talking
Even though
about
the name
this,
sounded like, but the spelling is different. Can that be the same person?
But wasn't the Bible all one book at one time?
I'm just asking you. Can that be the same person? You already asked. I'm trying to ask you something real fast. Can that be the same person?
If the name is Funny. I
said if my name was Funny, spelled Phunny, and later on down history, somebody come with the same story and say their name is Funny, but it's spelled Funny. Is that the same person?
It might not be.
Right. Well, check those spellings of Emmanuel.
Okay, but
check those spellings. Check those spellings of Emmanuel, and then you let me know if that's the same person.
Let her reply. Let her reply. Go ahead. Go ahead, Cola.
But we're talking about. It's talking about the same version from Isaiah, the Old Testament, to the New Testament, Matthew.
Right, and the spelling of the names are two different. One starts with an E. Right, I'm trying to tell you, Mal. I'm trying to rebuttal. One, which is in the Old Testament, starts with the I, Emmanuel, and the one in the New Testament, his name is Emmanuel, that starts with the E. Just like in the Old Testament, you have Elijah. In the New Testament, you have Elias, Elias. In the Old Testament, you may see Judah. In the New Testament, you might see Judea. Pharaoh always trying to mimic the Most High. No matter which generation the Pharaoh come through, he always try to mimic the Most High. Whatever the Most High do, he think he could do better. This Pharaoh is more diverse than the other Pharaohs. He came in, he flew in as quick as the eagle fly. He was more diverse. He got all his wisdom of evil through all out the scriptures. Egypt, Sodom and Gomorrah, Babylon. That's where we at right now. This wicked man is all those corrupt places in one. So he's stealing from the Old Testament and trying to magnify himself over it with his own stories.
All right. Then we let our Brother Josh respond, and then we got to take one more call. Again, Brother Josh, you can respond. Brother Josh, can you hear me? Hello? Hey, hello. Hold on for a second. Hey, Brother Josh, can you hear me? Hello? Just do a radio check. Mike, you can hear me, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, so it must be Brother Josh phone line or something like that. Okay, hold on for 1 second. Let me just take one more caller real quick then. Stand by and take one more caller. Let's go to see. 212-671. You're live on Debate Talk for you. Any questions or comments? 212-671. You're live on Debate Talk for you.
Yeah, hey, bro. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Loud and clear.
Yeah, all right. The sister just brought out about the virgin birth with Isaiah, and I wanted to, and then he brought up Babylon. So I'm gonna ask Michael if he believes that he's in Babylon right now.
Yeah, you got it, Mike.
Well, I'm in America, but this is Babylon per se, just as well as it's Egypt per se. this is all them wrapped up in one, so I'm in all them. So if you could combine all their names into one name, that's where I'm at.
So you're saying that this is spiritual Babylon, right?
And physical, because the same things that went on in Babylon is going on here. The same things that went on in Egypt is going on here, and the same thing that went on in Sodom and Gomorrah is going on here.
Okay. Well, did you know that Christ prophesies about Babylon being destroyed?
Did you know that was prophesied first by Yahweh?
I'm talking about spiritual Babylon.
I'm talking about all of it. Did you know it was prophesied first that Yahweh said he was going to burn it down?
Hold on, let me check. Bro.Josh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Yeah, you can reply if you want to reply. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, I want to just circle back around to that Daniel chapter 9, which all of them keep running from. Let me address what that sister said about Cyrus. Go online, sister, who called in saying that Cyrus was the Messiah. It says that Cyrus died in 530 B.C. 530 B.C. far short of 483 years of the first century. So there's no way that Cyrus could be the Messiah mentioned in Daniel chapter 9, because that Messiah was scheduled to come 480-something years later, which lands you in the first century. Also, sisters and brothers, have y'all noticed something else that Michael keeps doing? He keeps kicking against the New Testament, but the brother can't tell you anything about our Hebrew Israelite people that happened in the first century. What were the Jews doing in the first century? What were they believing? He's saying himself that he don't even know anything about 70 A.D. and Rome destroying the temple. Yes, there was a Hebrew temple in 70 A.D. that the brother knows nothing about. And the prophecy plainly said in Daniel chapter 9 that the Messiah would die before the temple was destroyed again. It hadn't even been rebuilt yet when the prophecy was given. So when you ask these brothers what Messiah was around before the temple was destroyed in 70 A.D., they can never give you an answer. They're like, I just know David is the Messiah. But David didn't live during the first century. Neither did he die before the temple was destroyed in 70 A.D. All of this stuff, the Bible prophesies what time in history the Messiah would come. That's the first century. And they know that the Messiah of the New Testament lived during that time. So they just want to erase him from existence and ignore all the outside sources. Nobody who called in tonight have been able to refute my sources, even Gary, who just said I'm wrong. But he didn't refute anything. He didn't prove anything wrong. He just said I'm wrong. So I'm waiting for somebody to call in and refute my sources, not try to refute what people believe about Jesus. That's all I want to say on that.
All right, well, we got to go into the final statement, guys. I really wish I could have got to all of your questions, but, of course, time doesn't permit. So right about now, we're going into the final statement of this debate. That's going to be 7 minutes each. Once again, I appreciate all of your questions and your comments, everybody that tuned in via online, and people that's still calling in right now over the phone. Do me a favor. Everybody that asked the question, just press number 1 for me, and that'll take you guys off the queue. We're going to go right into the final statement right now. Of course, we're going to start off with Brother Michael. And you go ahead, brother. You got 7 minutes. Final statements.
Well, I just want to say that the man just believe in doctrines of the heathen. And the heathen is the people that has us here in America in captivity. Again, this I know because not just through history, but through physically being here and knowing that we would never have these people names if it was not for us being kidnapped and took and brought to a land that wasn't ours. We would never have a name. We look nothing like them at all. We have pigment, they don't. These are not our people to believe in their doctrines. We are kicked out of our land and we are captives. We've been abducted by fools. And the Most High warned us and he told us, do not take on the ways of the heathen. don't follow the ways of the heathen. But he believed in the doctrines of the heathen. But I just want to show something real fast. I'm in Ezekiel 39. I just want to read 22. It says, so the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahweh, their father, from that day and forward. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore I hid my face from them and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So they fell by the sword. Again, this was Esau's blessing. JC said, I came not to send peace on earth, but I came to bring the sword. The Most High just stated here that the heathen go know that they only there because I hid from my face from them. And I gave them into your hands, and I allowed them to fall by your hands. Your engraven images, your falsehood, your doctrines, everything that you gave my people, the only reason why you did that is because I turned my back on them. I hid my face from them, and I gave them into your hands. And right here he said we all fell by the sword. And again, JC said I came not to bring peace on earth, but the sword, in that doctrine. But we all know, as I showed, that even he never even wrote none of the doctrine of the New Testament for me to even consider his livelihood. He never existed. All his story is the story of Esau. Esau was trying to get his birthright back, and he used JC because Esau has us in captivity, and the Most High blessed him to do whatever he wanted to do, but through wickedness. And that's what he used JC for, the cartoon character. Praise Yah.
Okay, well, that was Michael Yahudah's final statement. Once again, I really appreciate you for being a special guest on the show. And now we're going to go to Brother Josh with his final statement. That's going to be 7 minutes. I'm going to set the timer, and go ahead, Brother Josh.
Appreciate that, Brother Sal. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
You know, I got to always do my mic checks. I be dropping like it's hot. Anyway, I just want to say that I appreciate everybody listening in. I even appreciate Michael taking the time out to debate me because he didn't have to do it. But here's the whole point. This is how I see everything. At the end of the day, nobody even tried to address anything that I brought out. They all ran from it. They danced around it. People today like to divert people's attention. That's what Satan does. He's a master of diverting your attention from the topic at hand. I thought I was dealing with educated people who could distinguish the difference between a doctrine concerning a man and whether the man existed at all. Apparently, I wasn't, because I'm thinking I'm dealing with somebody who knows the difference between worshiping somebody versus did the person ever exist. For instance, a lot of Rastafarians think that Haile Selassie was the Messiah. They call him the conquering lion of Judah, right? Now, do I believe he's the conquering lion of Judah? No, I do not. But do I believe that he existed? From what the historical sources show, yes, I do. And I'll go about the same way to establish the existence of Haile Selassie, Alexander the Great, Nimrod, Hammurabi, the same way I go about establishing the history of Jesus Christ. What these people are showing y'all tonight, everybody who called in, they are showing you that because they reject what Christ said about himself or what people believe concerning Christ, that means the man didn't exist. That is stupid. That is childhood reasoning. I'm not trying to get anybody to believe that Jesus Christ was the Messiah. Not in this debate. I'm not trying to get anybody to believe he was the Son of God. Not in this debate. I'm not trying to get anybody to believe he was God in the flesh. Not in this debate. What I was trying to do, and I think I did it very successfully, is address through outside sources that there was a man that existed whose name was Jesus Christ or Yeshua HaMashiach, whatever name you want to use. Nobody tried to attempt to discredit that. One person called in who made a crazy attempt named Gary, who I'm going to be debating soon. Here's his reasoning. Well, since plenty the elder didn't say anything about him or other historical figures, that means he didn't exist. So let me get something straight. Just because everybody in history don't talk about somebody that discredited the people who did say something about him, just because Pliny the elder didn't say anything about Jesus does not take away from the fact that Pliny the younger did. That's crazy. It's like going on the news, watching Channel 5, and then watching Channel 2, and say just because Channel 2 didn't report something that Channel 5 reported, that means what Channel 5 reported is a lie. This is the type of reasoning these people are trying to sell y'all. I'm trying to teach y'all to do scholarly research, not ghetto research, not trying to combine two things that don't have anything to do with each other to form a conclusion. This is the reason why these people could never address the issue at hand. Brother, call in. Okay, you established in history that Jesus existed. Okay, well, let me ask you about this. No. If I already established in history that Jesus existed based on what you heard me say, that's all I want to talk about. Now, if you want to talk about something else, we can talk about that at another time. But that's what people try to do. And I am a master of detecting diversion tactics. This is what these people want to do. It's a rule of Satan. This is the reason why the brother I'm debating, he just wrote off all the sources. I just don't believe nothing the heathen say. Then he turns around and say Alexander the Great had our people in captivity. How did he know that? It's not mentioned in the Bible. How did he know that? How did he know that Alexander the Great had our people in captivity? You know what he did? He took his butt to a library and he did some historical research and he chose to believe that. Yet he can't explain Daniel chapter 9. He can't explain the 490-year prophecy. He don't know about the weeks of years. When I asked him about that, I didn't know David the Messiah. We're not talking about that. We can't reason like that, sisters and brothers. The brother made several mistakes. Oh, no prophet was ever forsaken. Come on. Even a 2-year Hebrew into the knowledge know that Israel killed their own prophet. That's day one, bro. That's one of the first things I learned when I started going to the Hebrew camp was that Israel was killing their own prophets. This man sounds fairly up in the age. I would place him at least at 40, and that's being generous. And he didn't know that Israel murdered their own prophet? This type of sloppy research is what's hindering us. Another person calls in and backs him up. He don't even know the difference between Saul and Saul, who was Paul. He off a couple of 1,000 years. So, sisters and brothers, the proof is in the pudding. I put the information out there. Nobody could refute it. They wanted to talk about everything but that. In my opinion, if you can't address the topic at hand, then you are already confessing to the masses that you lost. Because if I was saying anything that was a lie, he would have said, no, this source is wrong, this source is wrong. Only thing he gave you was his personal belief. I don't believe that. I don't believe the heathen. Well, everybody at the Debate Talk for You audience don't believe like that. They believe in doing research. So I ask y'all to continue your own research and let the Spirit of the Most High guide you in truth and sincerity. Thank you for listening.